Now, how about drums? An instrument everybody loves.
Welcome, family. How's it going, everyone? I hope everyone is doing well this evening. It is now 7:39 exactly GMT time, so I hope you all are doing well. You all had your dinner. I don't know what time you eat. I don't know what time you eat in the night. I've already been really eating 2 meals a day, really. But yeah, I hope all you guys and girls are doing extremely well today. Please, can I get a mic check just to make sure that I'm coming through okay? My internet, for some odd reason, was coming through a bit choppy at the start. So I'm hoping I've got all that stuff fixed. All my tabs that I don't need open are closed. So we can get this ball rolling efficiently. I see a few people already in chat already. Lorna's already up. Yeah, we're gonna definitely tackle some things today. So hopefully I've been gonna enjoy your input. Skills, man. How's it going? Yeah. As you know, always, I appreciate you all the time. Please make sure you get the likes up for all those who are watching. Share the stream, subscribe if you are new. If you're listening on the playback as well, please make sure that you do the same. Dej, how's it going? Hope everything is all well with you and the family. Hope that you are all doing well. Manchester Blue, I hope. Well, I don't think that's true. But if you are in Ukraine, I do pray that you are keeping yourself safe as possibly. We all know what's going on in the news. I don't know how true it is. A lot of times things are different on the ground, but I'm sure you're not in Ukraine. So I'm hoping you're not just trolling because that's a serious situation. But if you are, I'm wrong. Then fair enough. Then I hope that you keep yourself safe and yeah, this can be a bit of enjoyment. But for sure, we're gonna get into a topic today and really to prepare this whole week because there was a two-part series produced called Black and British. Now this was last week. I think it was Wednesday and Thursday, if I'm correct, in which the premise of the show was you had black people from all different kind of walks of life, if you like, that had different opinions if in regards to very the up-to-date contemporary issues. You know how it is, and they'll be put into a house for 10 days. And these six people, the three men, three women, and what they would have is they'll have a series of topics that they'll discuss. Some of it will be based on their own stories. So what you'd also see is their own life stories in regards to what they've been through, what they're about. So you get to know the people. So these guests are all put together, six people, again, three women, three men. And essentially, as you can imagine, because they have different viewpoints, some of them quite more fierce than others, you're going to have a bit of conflict and different things are viewed in regards to racism when it comes to all the things that are associated with that when it comes to exclusions, stop and search, when it comes to dating, life, etc. You name it. So it was a two-part series on BBC Two. They were both for an hour long, and so this week. You know, will God willing that everything goes well, God willing that everything's all right. It's a case of I'm gonna hopefully because there's a lot of things I wanted to address because there's so many different angles which I really want to talk about because we talk a lot, or I talk a lot, or recently, but even on like the Discord that I'm a part of, there's a lot of talk regards to being on code and being synchronized and how we as people should really present ourselves to the public. Obviously, when we mean by the public, we mean obviously as we're a minority, we're talking about the wider majority. So we're always talking about how do we need to best present ourselves. And if I'm going to be honest with you, this is just me. I find this show to be one of the most let's just say uncodified, unsynchronized thing I've seen in a long time. Now, I knew what it would be because I knew some of the cast of characters that were there. Now, for a lot of people who are sort of politically aware or not, but follow these things, a lot of people who you already would know, people like Hinder Andrews, Dominique Samuels, Lin Mai. So you have all these people here who you can tell they have different viewpoints, conservatives to more left, more pro-black, more conservative, more this, more that. So you already knew what was going to be the case. So all it was what I expected, which was a situation where you had both sides trying to war each other, both sides trying to I suppose you'll say they're trying to understand each other, but let's be honest, it was all about how their best interest or their viewpoint could be portrayed to the people. And let's be honest, I could be wrong. I don't think any of them got out of that thinking, you know what, I've changed my viewpoint radically. That could just be me. I don't know. So some of these conversations I look at and think, bruh, it's just kind of a waste of time. Now, it may be not for them and maybe for the public. So that could be a good thing. So it may be a case of, do you know what? It's the public. So they're talking through somebody. This is what, again, Brother Raven, shout out to you. You did say this. You may be talking to someone, but actually it's through another person. So even though the person that they're talking to doesn't see your point of view, somebody who else heard this, they may see your point of view, and that person can be converted. But we talk about image. We talk about, because this is one of the things that we as a people have always been fighting since we've got to these shores. And and when people say, oh, what does it matter about this and what does it matter about that? I gotta say to those people, let's be honest. Image is a huge part of how someone perceives you. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it fair? It's not fair. And part of that image is how you're presented from a media standpoint. Let's be honest, especially nowadays where media is so 24/7. We have obviously the standard mainstream media, as we call it, MSN. And then we have the non-standard mainstream media, which a lot of it is controlled by people on the ground. Again, you have your social medias. This is a platform. This is a media platform. Me talking is a form of media. YouTube. You have your social medias. You have all your Facebooks, YouTubes, Twitter, TikTok, all them kind of good stuff, Instagram. So all of these are media outlets. Now, let's be honest, images and stories, they get beamed across the world. And people make judgments, already prejudge you based on certain things. And because of that, image is hugely important, because at the end of the day, a lot of times, because of how we are as human beings, we form our concepts on people based on imagery that we see on people. Let's just be honest. I mean, we don't want to admit it, but it is the truth. When you go to an airport and you see certain people of a certain demographic, your mind instantly turns to certain good or bad things just based on what images has been planted, whether it be film, TV, media. Even though, let's be honest, it's not as if these stats are prevalent in terms of its high density or high proportion, but it just is the truth. Again, there's certain things where you on road, you see a group of boys or a group of girls, guess what happens? It's just a case of certain images, because of how things have been presented, it shapes and forms your concept of life and how you move. And how you move is how you survive. This is all survival techniques. It's how we need these kind of concepts. We need these information because we have to be able to survive. That's survival of the fittest, rule number one, Darwinism 101. So image is very, very important. And that's what leads me to this stream. It leads me to the first episode, because again, this is going to be I'm hoping it's going to be like a 6-part series. I really want to tackle each and every individual. So again, for those who have just come into the chat, African Empress, welcome. I hope to hear your viewpoints on this for sure. But what I want to do is, again, I want to do like a 6-part series where I break down each and every individual just to give my viewpoint on what I glean from that person, their message, what they were conveying, the image, all that kind of good stuff. Now, today, this is all about the young lady in question, and the image that it portrays to Black women. Because the title of this live stream is, who is responsible for the image of Black women? Because for the longest, there's been, and again, just to preface this, so before I get into this, because I have some video that I've got lined up, and again, I want to play it and react to it and, get your viewpoints on all of this. This is not going to be a stream where I'm going to be bashing. I'm not going to be shitting on anyone. I'm not going to be shitting on women. I'm not going to be doing all that kind of good stuff. So I'm hoping by now, if you've been watching my channel, been following my channel, I keep it fair and balanced at the best of time. I want to say, you may think differently. Cool. But yeah, this is not going to be a case of me ranting and raving. No. This is just has to be a call to arms to my sisters, to my fellow sisters, because from what I saw from this, it was not good. It was absolutely, you're just looking bad out here. We're just looking not so good. And what I want to do is just break down and ask the question: who's responsible for the image? Who is it? Is it us? Is it outside? Who is responsible for this kind of stuff? And really going to get into it today. And again, I'm not going to labor too long. I do want to open up the panel so I can get people's viewpoints on this. Again, I really would invite a lot of the ladies, if you're listening in the chat and you want to come up just to have your viewpoint, please. I do definitely appreciate it. But we have to get into it. We have to get into it. And we have to talk about this, because at the end of the day, listen, we talk about a lot of things. And one of the things which I've always, if you like Martin Luther King, he says this famous quote that people always point to when it comes to certain things. If you see wrong and you don't condemn the wrong, then by all accounts, you condone it, you allow it, you agree with it because you haven't condemned it. If you don't say something's wrong, then by all accounts, I mean, I don't believe this myself personally. There's certain situation where you think, I'll stay my, black backside away from that situation. But, Martin Luther King, this is what people quote all the time. If you see wrong and don't talk about the wrong, don't condemn it, don't talk bad about the wrong, you are therefore, condoning it. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So this is a situation now where we have to talk about a situation in all its entirety. Again, like I said, it's not going to be no bashing. It's not going to be on that not rare stuff, but it has to be talked about. It has to be. You have to be fair. We're talking about the men. We have to talk about the women as to what is going on here, because I do believe this, and I'm going to play the clip in a second. I know I've been rambling, but I do believe this, that the community is based or is strongest when both of us are at our best. In order for that to take place, we need to fix up. We need to fix up on a lot of things. A lot of things we talk about, but let's be honest, this is something that we definitely need to fix up on. Ladies, black women, this is something which, when I saw this, I was like, oh my days. But without further ado, I'm definitely going to play this. And in good fashion, what I definitely need to do is say fair use, fair use, fair use. So BBC, I mean, I've cut it down so it's not long at all. I'm going to react to it, but I need to say fair use because, you know how it is with these things. It's a BBC production and these guys are quite hot on this type of stuff. So fair use, fair use, fair use, if you've not heard it again. But let's get into this, and we're going to react to this, and for sure, let's get into it.
While Dom believes that a traditional British education is key to a better future, what goes on beyond the school gates is a challenge for every parent.
I had my kids young, got pregnant with my son at 16, had him at 17, got pregnant with my daughter at 18, had her at 19.
Now, I have to pause it there. Because the first, again, like I said, the model of the show is all the guests, you will see similar backstories. Again, if you've not seen it, then this will be a bit of a spoiler, but if you watch the whole thing, each of the guests, they'll have this sort of segment as you normally do. Now, this young lady here fits a certain stereotype. Let's just be honest. Now, 2 seconds into this video clip that I've just played here, she's already committed, you could argue, one of the cardinal sins, which has always been a negative image depicted on our sisters, which is what? Young single mothers. And if you listen to it again, I'm going to replay it. She had a child at 16, a son, and then had another child at 18. And Lorna. Now, I didn't say this. I did not say this. But this is another thing what took place. And ladies, I really do want your input on this, because when we talk about image, we talk about the best foot forward for us as just black people. I'm talking about black women right now. There's a certain situation where I'm like, if you're going to present to the public, it's just, I don't get it. It reflects badly on us. And this is the problem. This is it. Again, I'm not going to go into aesthetics. I'm not that kind of guy on my best day. I'm not going to go into that. That's just not even, it ain't even anything. But I would really like to know, what is your thinking pattern? And I'm like, this is just a stereotype which doesn't need to, it doesn't need to be aired. But let's continue. So let's just replay that again, just so we understand exactly the backdrop.
Is a challenge for every parent.
I had my kids young, got pregnant with my son at 16, had him at 17, got pregnant with my daughter at 18, had her at 19. So I grew up with them.
And if you realize, again, I'm going to pause this, but if you realize, and again, fair use, fair use, fair use. And a bit of spoiler alert, there's no mention of a man. So when I said single, there's no mention of a husband. There's no mention of a guy being in life. She'll talk about herself and how she had to grow up with the child young. So I'm like, here it is again. Here it is again. And this is, again, another spoiler alert. She's the only black woman in this show. Let's continue with this. Let's continue with this.
Michelle, a security guard, works hard to provide for and protect her family.
Now, did you catch that? Let me replay that one more time.
Michelle, a security guard, works hard to provide for and protect her family. But a recent...
And again, like I said, disclaimer, this is nothing, I'm not cussing off black women, I'm not saying anything, but we just have to say certain things where it's like, she's a security guard. Now, when you hear a female security guard, it's not necessarily the stereotypical feminine role. So already, whatever's happened, whoever's put this together has already shone a certain narrative which people will pick up on, which is what? the strong, independent woman raising children by herself. Now, again, you are 100% correct, Jarena. There are plenty of working class white women that have been left holding, well, their brown babies because black men are deserters. Okay. Again, I will obviously with your viewpoint, I love to hear your viewpoint. And yes, there are a lot of white women like that. But my question is this: how many would you see on a show like this in that kind of fashion? I do not know. But this is the problem. We talk about us as a people right now, and this is something that we kind of don't want to push as the centerfold. And this is why I'm just like, image is key. She's already a single mother by the time she's 20, and she's a security guard. It's just the X's and O's, they're just not correlating. And I'm just like, sis. It just ain't correlating. But this is the thing about the image. And I really, really, really would have loved to have known whether she had other people in life saying, look, listen, I understand you have a story to tell. They all have stories to tell. But there's certain situations where it's like, there's certain stories, there's just people talk about being on code. I would rather we just leave that to a side. I'm not saying we don't talk about a problem, but I'm saying other groups, when they have problems, because everyone has problems, there's certain things where they're like, shh. You know, our families, they have their own individual problems, like, shh. Let's not talk about it to the outside world. This is for us, but other people, they don't know that until, let's be honest, they get really deep. And if they're married to the family, it's like this. And it's like, shh, you know what I mean? That's the only time they know. Otherwise, it's just, shh, no one say anything. Now, we have that kind of code, but it's in a completely wrong way, which, excuse me, that's definitely another video. But let's continue, because there's some other things I wanted to pull out from this, and we're gonna have to get into it. But again, disclaimer for people in the chat, you know, I have to say this for some odd reason. Men are, you know, they understand this, or they don't really care too much, but this is not a black woman's bashing content. This has to be told about the image. Again, this affects both of us. If you believe that, I believe that as a community. So this affects us all. So let's continue.
Recent incident has left her shaken.
I want the group to see this because this is real life.
So I need to pause that there. So they're the other two ladies who are in the show. So there's 3 women, and they're the other 2 women. Now already you're seeing a divide. Do you not see this? Do you not see how this gets played on TV? You have 2 women there who clearly have admixture. They're mixed. Again, Lynn Mai, she's on the left, if you don't know. Dominica Samuel's on the right. They're both mixed. And do you not see the image? Do you not see how this comes across, where you have the only black woman there? And again, if you listen to these 2 stories, they aren't pregnant with 2 kids by the time they're 20. I'll tell you that now. This is the sort of image where I'm like, we need to be careful about how we present ourselves. I don't care that it's for a show that we want different opinions. You have your issues. I get it. But this is the sort of thing where I'm like, we need to put ourselves in the right way. No matter the kind of trials and tribulations, we need to try and pitch ourselves in the right way. And we're going to get into some other things about, you know, who I hold responsible, because that's the title of this live stream. Who's responsible for the image? But let's continue.
Real life. Being a black mom is hard work.
See that? Struggle. The face of struggle. They're panned up. They've panned close into her. She said being a black mom's struggle, or everything is struggle. So they're showing the black woman who's dark skinned as nothing but struggle. Do you not see the narrative? Struggle.
I'm very, very protective of my kids. More so my son, because he's black. He's a teenager. Every time he walks out of that house, I feel pressure.
Again, if you saw that, no man in that picture. Now, again, it's the picture of the kids, but again,
I feel pressure. I do not go to work until my son comes home from work, because I know then he's at home and he's safe. I fear for him every day. One day, my son was on his way to work. I had come home from a night shift, so I was asleep. I got woken up with a big thud on the door. It was my son's friend telling me, Hakeem's been trying to call me. He got hit by a car. So now I'm panicking. So I arrive on the scene. I'm in my robe still. I'm in my flip-flops. My son's standing against the wall in handcuffs, like just standing there. So I walked over to him and I'm like, Hakeem, why have you been arrested? He then says, because they found a lock knife in his bag. A lock knife? The lock knife for your work. It's got the logo on it. It's for work. My son had on...
I mean, so far, does not scream of a stereotype. Everything's stereotype. It's like, it's not as bad as it could have been, but it's all about stereotype, isn't it? Young black boy, single mother, pulled over by the police, stop and search. Man's been suspicion of having a knife in his pocket, going to work. All stereotypes, negative stereotype. And keep in mind now, only a black woman with this kind of stereotype. Spoiler alert for people who have not watched the documentary. Sorry.
The full work attire. He had on the boots, he had on the trousers, he had on the t-shirt, he had on the jacket. What do you think he's going to be doing at 7 a.m. in the morning? He's on his way to work. At this time, I'm vexed, like I'm mad. I said to the police officer, you've arrested a victim and you've now made him a perpetrator. They took him to the police station. After 11 hours of waiting, a police officer has come to me and told me that they're going to release Hakeem.
Right, I'm gonna forward this. I'm gonna forward this because there's another thing which I just wanted to really, really get into again. Again, talking about the image and who should be responsible and all this kind of other things. I just want to pause this because I just want to ask this question as well, because maybe I'm just too old school. Maybe that's my problem. And maybe it's just my relationship and how I see things and other people's relationship with their mothers. But keep in mind now, just for people who came in late to the show, that this young lady here, her name's Michelle White. She has she has two children as a young adult, 2 kids by the age of 20, raising them by herself. Again, pointing her struggle, painting her everything. And I just wanted to know, because is this the reason why, in terms of relationship with their children? Because you're going to see her son come up, okay? And I just want you to just peep the relationship.
And Michelle has also invited her son Hakeem to come along.
Now, right there. Let me just replay that again. Again, maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm
or not racist.
And Michelle has also invited her son Hakeem to come along.
Come meet the rest of the gang.
I mean, again, maybe it's the new breed, but don't they seem a little bit not like, I mean, I would have never guessed unless the narrator said that's her son, that you would think it's the case. I don't know what it is. Again, maybe I'm just too old school or whatever it is, or maybe I just want to dap my mum like that. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't know. Is it just me? But it paints another narrative of the whole idea of the relationship. Again, I don't know. It's not a motherly type of relationship. It's a different type of relationship, which, again, stereotypes, it stunts the son, it creates a dependency. Also, it's all these kind of fuels thing. And again, mothers are mothers, we get that, but I don't know. People in chat, let me know. Would you dap your mother like that? I got no clue. But yeah, skills man, I will say this. She does have the best body in the camp. There is no question about that. She looks fine. Okay. I mean, listen, she has the best body in the camp. I'll definitely say that. But again, that's just me. Yep, Fiona, I agree. Best body in the camp. No question. And she's got 2 kids. So I ain't hating. I ain't even hating. Right. So there's about 20 seconds left. There's one last thing which I just want to pull up, and then we're gonna get to it, because we need to ascertain who's responsible and what's going on and all this kind of other stuff. So one last thing, I promise.
Forever someone who knows all about Raf's upbringing in Devon and his love life is about to put in an appearance.
I love a bad boy though.
All girls like bad boys.
Yeah.
So am I a bit of a bad boy then?
Definitely not.
Right, so I want to play that one more time. Self-explanatory, but I just want to paint the picture, because we talk about she's a single mother, and we have no idea why she's a single mother. But again, feeding into the stereotype again, this may illuminate as to why that's the case. Let's play this clip one more time. And keep this in mind, people. I'm going to say this. I only watched this one time, So it wasn't like I was looking for this. Me and my eagle ears and my eagle eyes, I picked up on this straight away, So imagine what would happen if I took this apart over 3 times, 4 times. I couldn't do it, to be honest with you. I really couldn't, for other reasons, which we're going to get into later on this week. God willing, but I picked up on this the first time. Now, this was the second part of the series, so you can imagine, again, first time I picked this up, it was just like clockwork. One more time.
I love a bad boy though.
All girls like bad boys.
Yeah.
So am I a bit of a bad boy then?
Definitely not. Far from.
Now, that was about the guy Raf, who he was trying to set himself up for dating and etc. like that, and it got into a bit of your preference and that kind of stuff. But again, when you watch that, she was the only woman when they edited it who said that. Now, it's not to say that other women don't like bad boys, because we know that is the case. But again, you see how editing team, I don't know what it is, but you painted a picture and a narrative about this lady, which again, we have zero clue whether this holds any water. I don't know her history or background about what took place, but you see the image that gets painted about Black women on a show with all Black people now. Like, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. This was a panel which was supposed to put black people of different opinions, but yet and still, almost the stereotypical type was still the black woman, a dark-skinned black woman. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, come on, come on. Who's doing this to our people? Who is responsible for our image? Now, the obvious answer would be, white people, the main demographic, they're responsible for our image. And here's the thing, I'm not going to disagree with you, to a point. Now, this is where it came, and again, I want to be fair as I can be. To a point, I completely understand, or I understand other people's point of view when it comes to the mainstream media, because they control it, other groups control it when it comes to certain TV shows. Because let's be honest, when you look at Love Island, a classic example, and again, this is where I'm going to tell my black sisters, you need to know where to go, where not to go. Now, a lot of people did reviews on this. I didn't. But let's be honest, there are certain situations where black women, it's a hostile environment from the get-go. Therefore, you as a black woman, you should stay far away from there. I know it's, you want to go on Love Island, you like watching it, all that kind of other good stuff. But you've seen what took place when Samara, and she was mixed, by the way. She was a mixed girl. She identified as a mixed girl. She wasn't like a full black girl who went on Love Island. And you saw what took place. It was a case of she was just picked last. She was crying, all this kind of other stuff. Now, a lot of black guys are like, oh, you like white boys anyway. But you see the image of black women get picked last, black women are this, struggle. Again, you saw in that clip that I played, black motherhood is struggle. All of it was struggle. And I'm like, if you're trying to paint black people in a different light, please. And I don't even, why not get the mixed women to be that story? Why not get the lighter skin tone woman to have that storyline? Why have it the only black woman on the show with a dark skin tone? You see how this all plays through, people. You see why I'm just like, look, when it comes to certain things, I'll say yes. Okay, fine. What the mainstream, I expect them to. This is another thing. I kind of expect them to. But you know what? There's something called agency. Agency. And for the life of me, I'm like, look, we have a level of agency at this moment of time in which, again, it forms the basis of my live stream that's going to be tomorrow about accountability and pro-blacks. And one of the things which I just want to just implore, and, again, this is a call to arms. This ain't no bashing stream, a call to arms. Say, look, there's certain situations which you're going to be in a hostile environment. You do not want to go there. Why are you putting yourself in a situation where you're going to look bad? It makes no sense. I'm like, where's the sisterhood to tell this young lady, look, sis, this is all wrong from head to toe. This is all wrong. I'm not saying you don't have a story and it's not valid and we should be hearing it. But in certain scenarios, in certain environments, it is all wrong. So we talk about Love Island. That's one thing. We talk about this other thing. But look, when we talk about even on the ground level, we talk about this show, which again was all by black people. But even when it comes to, and again, black women, you let me know why a lot of black women do this to themselves. When it comes to these red pill channels, it's like black women know that they can, and these are black channels, black men's channels. I'm like, you're going to go there and expect a hostile environment, even if, and I've seen this, even if you have non-black women who act far worse than black women. If a black woman does half of a half, I'm guaranteed you're going to look 10 times worse, because it's just going to feed or breathe life, fresh life into old negative stereotypes. Even though I posted a community post on my tab, if you want to look, which says the single motherhood rate is declining at a rate not seen since the 1996. So in the 90s, the single mother rate, the childless, all this kind of epidemic that we saw, that was at its peak in about, 2000 and maybe 2010 or something like that. Now it's at its levels, reduced levels, its lowest level since 1996. So with all that in mind, you're thinking, well, hold on a second. A lot of these tropes, even our communities, I've not seen the breakdown. I'm trying to look for the breakdown of the stats, but it's not been updated yet. A lot of these things are actually reducing. But again, this just breathes fresh life into negative stereotypes. And I'm just like, why do that to yourselves? Why do that? Why go into shows that you know you're going to get hostile treated and then expect something different, then complain? At that point, I'm like, I don't have no sympathy for you. I don't. And this is all in love. I have no sympathy. I have to say what it is. Why go in a situation which you know is going to be hostile, especially if you meet a stereotype? That's the one thing that kills me the most. But, fair play to you. Once you go on that kind of things and you understand that, then at that stage, I can't help it. We can't help it. But it's just like, where is the sort of sisterhood to say, look, no. That's not on. Now, at the moment, we have men criticizing women, women criticizing men. But back in the day, that wasn't the case. Women were women's biggest critics, especially the older women. They were the ones who tell women, don't wear like that, don't do that, don't do that. Men likewise will say the same thing to men. So what's going on right now? Is there a complete disconnect? Are women just completely abandoning ship? Or they're like, I don't, is it because you think, and this is another thing I want to get your opinion on. Do you still not see it as that woman represents you, or do you see it as that woman represents herself? Because we talk about this society being more individualistic. I get that. But again, like I said, with image, as much as you try and separate yourself as an individual, people will still see you as part of the collective. But what we see it all the time in when you talk to, again, friends and co-workers, and they'll say, oh, you're not like that, you're not like that, but I don't like these people, but no, you're cool. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like you have to be careful, because truth be told, they do see you part of the collective. I'm telling you. And you just have to let it sit with like, that's what you really think. And again, the collective is a series of individuals. So this is why I'm saying, when it comes to agency, there's situations we can't control, which I agree, but there are a lot of things which you're responsible. You're responsible for your image. Let's be honest. You're responsible for your own image. And this is the horrible thing, which I was doing some research on. And I'm going to share my screen in a second to show this, because this is what it kind of set it off to me about how we as a people, we are not on sync at all. And I'm like, look, we have responsibility as a whole in regards to this kind of stuff, because again, this show was produced, or it was aired on BBC Two. So this, again, is a BBC production. We know who owns BBC. We know that's all about. We get all that. So I was like this. All right. Boom. Let me do some research. Had a couple of conversations beforehand, and this came up. I was like, yeah, let me do some research. Let me find out exactly what's going on, and find out who actually produced this show, who actually did this. Because I'm like this. Surely our own people wouldn't do our sister like that. So I'm like, yeah, surely that's going to be the case. Surely that is going to be the case. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to share my research that I found. I've shared my screen. I'm going to get into it. So this is the We Are Black and British. Again, this was aired last week on BBC Two. Now, it goes through, we're going to go through it. The executive producer, Narinder Manhas. Now, he clearly has a name which is of Asian origin. Now, he said, and it's a he, now, on how appointing a production team with different opinions and backgrounds were key. Like you see here, the production company, the commissioner, executive producers, all that kind of good stuff. Now, I'm just going to read a few lines, okay, because obviously these names, they don't really tell a good story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a few lines here. Now, so this is set up for TV experiment based on the academic study, which tested which team could build a Lego bridge the fastest. Unsurprisingly, the blokes wasted their time puffing out their chest and bickering over who should be leader. The women were democratic and lost time being too polite. Meanwhile, the mixed team stormed ahead and built a bridge. Why am I telling you this? Because it's a good metaphor for the way I think about building a production team. Diversity equals success. All right, cool. So you already know what this means in terms of production team. But a diverse team should never be homogenous. I don't like the all-white teams, but to be honest, I don't think all black teams or Asian teams are great either. On a show like We Are Black and British, though all the contributors are black, it's the mix of perspectives, opinions, and backgrounds within the production team that really brought this show to life. Okay, then fair enough then. Now, using that, I'm like this. Okay. So who decided to cast? Who decided to put this team together? Because this is the question. Now, this is what I really want to know. I'm going to go down. You can read this for yourself. I'm going to put the links in the description box so you can see the link really up top here, but you can see it. And again, so among the black members of our team had a mix of classes, ages, and backgrounds. It ended up being crucial at every stage. So they really want to push home that it's mixed. So before we can say who did this, it must be, them type of people holding up their image wrong. Mixed. Now, the producer. And you got a picture of him. Jessica Mitchell, that's anonymous, but the picture tells it who it is. Now, this is a young lady who doesn't look too bad. She looks well put together. So I'm trying to figure out what happened. Now, again, you can tell by the title. I'm going to read the excerpt. We Are Black and British. This is a show that's all about the characters. So how did I cast it? So, boom. A black woman casted the show. Now, stop everything right there. Sis. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that to Michelle? How are you going to do that? She casted the show. She did it all by herself. So at this stage, who do we, for this particular junction, this is what I mean when I say agency. There are things we can't control, but what can we control? This is the show that was produced. Again, a lot of the production team was diverse. And when I looked at the names, you can look at it for myself. A lot of them happened to be of our background. They were black. So I'm like this. We do have responsibility. We have responsibility that when we tell our own stories, we have to be mindful. I know we want to make sure that it's all diverse, want different opinions, but come on. We know there's certain things which just plays through in a different light. So I'm like, again, like I said there, how did I cast it? So firstly, she never left the house. Again, in my opinion, street casting is a total waste of time, and you can message 10 people on social media in the time it takes you to walk to the bus stop. Fair enough. People in casting always rave about tapping into hidden communities through street casting, but you've got as much chance of doing that online, if not more. Again, use social media, Google search, target images with good backstories. I'm like, listen, I get all that, but this backstory was nothing but just stereotype after stereotype. And it's like, even when it comes to, I mean, this is a pre-record. The thing is, when you had these situations with a pre-record, I thought with these producers, with these assistant, associate production team, directors, they were like, no, who's sorting out just the look, the aesthetics, head to toe, everything? Who's just sorting out how it gets cut? Who sorts that out? We do. So I'm like, when I saw that, I thought to myself, we have to be real with ourselves. That was, again, who do we blame for? Who's responsible for our black women's image? Well, again, we have mainstream media, but I'm not even going to talk about that today. We have responsibility. Women, you have responsibility about your own image. You need to put yourself in the best position. But not only that, when it came down to deciding, this is the killer. When it came down to deciding who was going to be fit for the roles, it's like, it's almost as if they just wanted to just that was it. Struggle. 2 kids, single, all that kind of good stuff at young age. Boom. Stereotype met, even though the whole show was about booking stereotypes and booking the trend of black people with the same thoughts, same opinions, same this. Like, of all the people to do it to, it's just, and again, it's not like I even say it has to be. It's not like I want it even for the mixed people who was on there, but at least have it different. At least have it different. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And again, it's like other shows like Backchat London. Again, another minstrel show, which. And by the way, it's not as if black men look anything better on there, but it's just like, I don't know. Who's responsible? Again, it's one of those things. It's just this particular show. And again, this is why I'm saying there's a lot of we have our own individual freedoms for certain situations where by now we should know the game. This is the thing. We're in the late stages where people talk about, white supremacy, how the mainstream media like to paint a certain narrative when it comes to, again, black women, and again, and we get all that. So my question is this: come on. Once we know that, there's no excuse, and it's not a young lady as well. She's a grown woman. She had the children when she was young, okay, but she's a grown woman. And here's what I say: she was actually very pleasant on the show. So I do have to say this: she didn't come across like a fiery character. So that's one thing which I will say, just to also bring it back. She wasn't a fiery character. She wasn't like a I'm a strong, independent woman. She didn't have that tag. However, her being a security guard, her saying she wanted to protect her son, which is obviously fair. Her saying that it was struggle this, or it all screams that independent tag, even though she didn't even use that word not one time in the whole show. So but that's the problem with the image and how it paints the picture. It doesn't take too long of a stretch to put that tag on this woman, even though this young lady didn't even say that word. And I'm just like, I really want to have your opinion on this. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. Now, I would really would appreciate it if the women could come on the chat first, that they can have their say on, if you've watched the show, if you've not, if you watched this excerpt that I've played, how did you view this? How did you see this? Was this a positive light, negative? Did you not care at all? Who's responsible for the image? Do you see this as a job that's something that black men, we should be controlling? Is it a black women's job? How does your image get portrayed? Is it good or not? And how would you like it to move forward? That's the kind of question that I really wanted to get through today. Because again, when I looked at that show, it's one of the first things I was like, bro. And I was like, I was upset when I saw it myself. So this ain't something which I'm like, oh yeah, you waiting for this. Yeah, you wanted this thing. Yeah, you were looking for this. It wasn't nothing like that, one iota. This is just something which I saw and I thought, come on now, come on. It looks bad. And again, I'm one of those guys who's like, the black communities, black women and black men, I don't see it like, some separation that other people do. So that's just me. So links in the chat, people. So I'm happy to get your opinion. And again, ladies, you're welcome to come on. I'm ladies first, all that good stuff. So Lorna, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. What are your thoughts? You're on mute, by the way.
Oh no, I just joined that. I didn't have anything to say right now. Somebody got something to say, can say.
Okay, but let me ask you this then. Did you happen to watch the documentary at all?
Yeah, I just watched it when you were going to talk about it. I ran quick and just look through it also. So yeah, I watched a little bit.
Okay, but from what I played and what I saw, what you've seen, what would you say? I mean, would you say that image is a good image, a positive? You weren't really too fussed about it. You didn't see it as, you're included in it. How did you see that?
As I commented already in the beginning, like when I saw it immediately, even before she started to speak, I saw the nails, the hair, the wig. I was like, okay, here we go again. I wasn't surprised. Like that's the whole story that went through, because it's the image that's about Black women. Even if you see Real Housewives, whatever, whenever a Black woman is on TV, she's dark skinned, it's the same storyline. So I wasn't even surprised.
That's interesting because you said you weren't surprised, and I don't think a lot of Black women, to be fair, were surprised. They probably rolled their eyes and thought, "Oh, here we go again." Now, are you just like are you like normalized it now? You used to it, and it sort of it just rolls off your back like water on a duck's body. Is that kind of how you feel at the moment?
Yeah, how I feel is like, because through my understanding of the system we live in, is like the Black woman has to stay the struggle woman so that other women, white women, can look good, can look like they need to be cared for and taken care for, and the Black woman has to stay gone with the wind. That stereotype has to stay in everyone's mind, so that the Black woman, even if she gets shot or she's in pain, it doesn't matter. So it's just the same system going around. It's the same thing over and over. The Black woman doesn't need to be cared for. She's difficult. Negative, negative, negative. So yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And in terms of, I suppose, responsibility on this part, I know you mentioned the powers that be. So again, like I said, there are things which I can't argue. The things outside of our control. But on this show, again, the production team was it was pretty much an all Black production team. So it wasn't like it was white people made the choice to put these people in a room. It was Black people. So do you see us as having a massive impact, or and again, Black women yourselves? Do you see that as a massive situation where we need to take control of your image in which ways you can do?
Yeah, I think we as Black people, we in this system, just like everyone hates on Black people, we are also trained to hate on each other. So I don't think other women there took really time to think on the effects of having her look like that. So I don't think we ourselves, we don't think like, if another Black person looks bad, it affects me. We don't have that idea yet as a collective to think in that way, that okay, that person's image, even if I don't like her, is going to affect me. We don't have that mindset yet. So I think if those women who are there, who are the directors, had that thought, they wouldn't put her in that position. But since they have their own money, they are movie directors, they have their husbands, they don't see it like it's affecting them or it's going to affect their daughters, but it is going to affect them and their daughters in the long run.
Now, you said something quite profound there. What I want to pick your brain on, because you said you don't think, obviously, we're not thinking about each other like that, and you think, oh, that I don't know if it's competitive nature with women, catty nature. You don't see yourselves as, again, they call it the sisterhood. But do you think that's what it is? Do you think the other women, because again, it was a woman who set this up in terms of the people in the room. She thought, she don't really care. Do you think that's what it was? Do you think Black women no longer have each other's backs anymore? It could be because of jealousy. They don't care if you look bad. It's just you. I'm a producer. I'm a director. Do you think that's what it is? There's no longer women got each other's back, because that's what, again, a lot of us men perceive women have each other's back.
Yeah, I think like we all Black people in general, we don't have each other's back. So, because if we have each other's back, then the whole system will crash. Like we wouldn't be in this struggle system anymore. So, but at the same time, I do understand like most Black women were in this sense of getting this, like we are on our own a lot because the system wants us to stay in that struggle system. Is we don't take much time to analyze things, to understand the system, to come together, because everything is we are at constant attack. So we haven't had time to sit down and have peace and look at our general image in general, because we're always fixing this, fixing that. We just literally came out of literal slavery and colonialism, so we haven't had time to take care of ourselves and think about such things as our image and stuff like that. So it continues with the stereotype, single mom, struggle, blah, blah, blah. When are you going to ever sit down and think about the general image of Black women and stuff like that? But the women who are directing and stuff like that, you can definitely see maybe they are light-skinned, and if you go to their husbands, maybe they are white. So the mindset, what I've noticed, if most Black women who like are in these interracial marriages or have high jobs amongst white people, they somehow think they are white. So if they are attacking Black women, they are in there doing the same thing. I don't even think they realize they are attacking Black women, but they do it without even thinking, because they really want to fit in so bad. So yeah.
No, that's fair enough. And I just want to sort of pose this as well. I mean, do you think we as Black men have a role to play as well in this? Because again, there were Black men involved in this as well, not just Black women. And maybe it was a case of maybe men needed to have the foresight to see, hold on a second, that's not looking good on our sisters as well. Do you think also there's been a desertion from men in regards to our estate? Because I do think that men are usually nowadays is a little bit different, but usually should be forward thinking and understanding, especially image, because Black men and image, we understand how that plays through. Again, we've all been fighting for image as well, but again, Black men with their negative stereotypes. But do you think also men have had a role to play, which they've kind of dropped the ball as well in regards to protecting our women? Do you think that's another thing?
Yeah, do you know what surprises me? I find that Black men really, really understand Black women. They know which buttons to push. They really understand us in many ways. They know our weaknesses. But for some reason, they use those weaknesses for their own benefit. And in this situation, of course, those Black men knew. They've read her completely. I know at first glance, they know her weaknesses, they know her insecurities, they know the whole thing. But that's the same thing. We don't have each other's backs. Those Black men, I don't know why, but it's like Black men work against Black women for some reason, but they know the mindset of a Black woman. They know how she feels. They really understand it. But that understanding, they use it against Black women. So yeah, they definitely knew what was going on. They saw the image. They know. So yeah.
No. I mean, I will say this because I don't know if you're too familiar with the Red Pill space, but a lot of things that guys talk about, again, female nature, especially the Black, or all of them. But when it comes to the Black sector, they talk about, female nature and Black women's, females' nature. And it's always in the case of weaponizing. And I've criticized, I've said my two pieces about it. So you can definitely check it out. So I do keep it consistent and fair. But yeah, it does seem to be a case where instead of it being a case of, protecting or at least even if you may not like the woman, this is the next thing, just saying, look, this just don't look good. And obviously if the women or the guys, if it's vice versa, they still do it because they don't want to listen to your advice, that's one thing. But it may be a case of, yeah, there's definitely seem to be a lack of having people's back when it counts the most for certain situations, which I've seen, yeah, for definite. So it is interesting, but we don't seem to have that sort of, we're trying to get it. And it's something which, again, that's why I wanted to talk about this and talk about other things that we need to really have ourselves on code. We're just not on code. So it's
I think in conclusion, it's just that we don't have each other's back. And those Black men knew immediately when they saw the whole image from head to toe, they had something to say, but they didn't say it. And they didn't care about her image, how she's going to appear. So yeah, we don't have each other's back. That's the problem.
Sad times indeed. Antisocial, Lady A, welcome. Hope you're doing well this evening.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, doing well. Yourself?
Good, thank you. Long time no see.
Absolutely. So, what are your thoughts? I think you've been listening through quite a long time, so I'm sure you're aware of the setup. So, what are your thoughts so far?
I didn't catch all of the salute to the chat and everything. I didn't catch all of the video. I just saw a little bit at the end where the lady was kind of standing on the steps and she said something, I like I like Bad Boys, and I was just like, oh, here we go again. You know, it's kind of like, my thing is this: I really feel like the white-owned media puts a lot of batteries in the backs of Black women. And the sister that came on, she said a lot of really interesting things. I agreed with a lot of what she said, but when she said, you know, the Black men know how to push the Black woman's buttons, that's when I was like, okay, I might have to jump up for a second, because we have to. All right, let me go back. You said the people who produced the thing you just showed was done by white women. And there was a case just a few months back in America of a school district.
Which one? Do you mean this Black and British one? Because that was produced by a Black woman. This one.
Yeah, the lady who was saying like she's a single mom and she likes Bad Boys.
All right, yeah.
And recently there was a situation in America where like a huge district in America was failing. Like one boy passed like 2 classes in how many years? And he was in the top 50% of his class in his school. And I was saying to someone, said the same thing, like, oh, can't you see that the board who created all of these, you know, these decisions, they're all Black women. It was like a committee of about 6 Black women, all PhDs and everything. And I'm like, yes, but the fact that that area is failing with all these highly educated women shows that they are protected by somebody who wants all those children in that predominantly poor Black area to fail. So with this documentary, it's kind of the same thing. They know which women to pick who are down with the agenda, because there is money in keeping Black people as a permanent underclass. So you have to sell them on the mental slavery. Being a single mother, struggle love, dating bad boys, you know, males going in and out of prison and, you know, worrying more about swag than education. That might not even be the majority, but you don't want them to break free of that mental slavery. And the thing is this, it's like we consume a lot of TV. We look to TV for an identity. So they are constantly giving us an identity and tropes to fall into. And this is the other thing I want to say, and then I'm going to stop. A lot of people value keeping it real. They're like, why would you show the Cosby, you know, some Cosby family type, you know, family Black people, when most people say, well, that's not what the majority of us live like. We want to see people that reflect our image. So sometimes we ask for these things, not understanding that for those who don't come from that background, they need to have, or not even they don't come from that background. For those of us who haven't come from that background, we need to be encouraged to aspire to something more stable. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you are. And to be fair, you're right. Because even obviously when the Cosby Show came out, not how many middle class Black Americans were around that time. You know what I mean? So it's not as if they had obviously they had enough, but it's not as if they had a whole heap of Cosby's families. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just something that image to a positive image to say, look, this is almost like what we want to be in terms of a happy, loving family. It's not anything which is it may not represent us right now, but that's what you kind of want to represent you. So yeah, you want the good PR. So you do need good imagery. No, I get you.
And that's true, because of a documentary is kind of resurfaced in like America, where you know, before maybe the 80s and, you know, the crack era and things like that, there were a lot of 2-parent homes and people, you know, moving up economically. But by the time the Cosby Show had come, probably the crack era had just finished and there was a really high rate of single motherhood. So why are you showing a middle class family where the 2 of them are doctors? And obviously that was going to help people think we can live better than this. But they realized, oh, we don't want these people to get too many ideas. Let's start promoting, as Skittles was saying, the Cardi B's. These people are sellouts. They are used as puppets to promote an agenda and a lifestyle and a way of thinking to the masses.
No, I hear you. And again, the Cosby Show again was a hugely popular show, and obviously now, yeah, the storyline is quite different. So no, I appreciate your commentary. Tash, welcome to the stream. What do you have for us? I know we've had a bit of converse. So
do you know what? This lady has just kind of said everything that I wanted to say anyway, to be honest with you. I wanted to really go down the route of an agenda being casted upon the black woman. I think we can even do. I mean, we didn't have the high figure, six-figure family in regards to the Cosby Show, but we had Desmond's, who at least had a family kind of spirited Caribbean unit, and you were able to see. I felt you were able to see an identity that you could aspire to be, right? And I think this documentary, we have to question the agenda that is taking place. And the question I think you're asking is, who's responsible for the image of the black woman? And I would say, unfortunately, it's the system in this. Even though you've shown us the black face of the producer, I would ask who's the casting director. I would look into. I think you said there was an Asian man who was the executive.
Yeah, he was the
producer.
executive. Yeah.
So there's a little face there for us to kind of, it's a black female producer, right? So in regards to who's responsible for this, I just find it interesting, and I wouldn't say that especially one of the mixed race ladies, I don't think she came across very well at all, right? So I think a few of them, I don't think they signed up for what they have put. I actually was I think the biggest. Actually, I know you're going to do some shows in the future about the rest, so I won't go into that. But in regards to this particular case, it's definitely the system, and we have to question when we are signing up to represent our community on documentaries or shows like this. We have to say no. We have to have the whole group, every person that's involved in the organization has to be a black person. The narrative has to really be a conscious narrative for anyone to sign up at this stage. It's so detrimental to see a woman like herself, and I kind of felt sorry for her to a certain extent, sad to say, because I don't think she even knows what's actually taking place.
And the thing is, I said this, she's actually come across as
blindsided.
a lovely woman. So it's not like she
Yeah.
was, I say she was a lovely woman, but you're
Yeah.
right. It's just,
Yeah, she's blindsided to it. Even just, in terms of lack of education, like you said, her being a security guard, having that kind of aggressive stereotype. And if we look into history in terms of what the black woman, the image of the black woman, it was originally the servant, the mammy that was in the first movies. Then you had the black woman as a Jezebel, the kind of prostitute. Now you see a lot of this whole welfare. That's the identity of the black woman. And it's just, when have we had a space where we've seen black women represented in a positive light consecutively in a number of shows, in the UK? I'm not talking about Black America here. When have we had that? We have to now take control of our own media platforms. If this is not a wake-up call to anyone out there that is looking into media, I don't know what can be, because it was dreadful. Sorry, go on, Mike. Sorry.
No. You raise a good point about representation, because again, imagery is so powerful, and we really don't give it enough credit about how powerful imagery is. And again, I've not asked both of you ladies about, do you feel that lady kind of represents you? So I don't know how you felt about it. I mean, did you feel a bit like, or did you, at this stage, were you like Lorna is almost desensitized to it, which is a really bad thing? I mean, were you desensitized, or were you kind of like blood boiling a little bit?
As soon as I saw it, I knew what was happening, unfortunately. I saw it and I thought, okay. And then we had Dominique there and I thought, okay, so they're going to have to be contrasts there, right? But it's interesting that they put the darker skinned woman in this position. You would think that at this stage, dark skinned women have been through enough.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree.
But no, and I don't want to point the blame at that black producer, because who knows? She might have had a few prods to say, okay, come on, let's really go to town with this. And I think we should say no to these checks.
Well, this is what I was going to say, because do you think, again, are we not strong enough to say no? Are we not strong enough to say no? We're not having that representation.
Well, brother, it's a form of exploitation. The reality is a woman has been clear what position she has in life. She's been probably paid a certain amount. This will give her notoriety. So it's a form of exploitation. We are used to this as Black people, and we should be saying no. And you mentioned the sisterhood. We need to circulate that woman. And we need to circulate all our women in our community and come together and hold hands and stand together against this. Because this is nonsense. I'm pretty sure, she's an intelligent, clever woman. Obviously, there's a lot of cut and pasting going on. Some of the points, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to redeem this situation. Struggling to see what points she made that were. Even our professor from Birmingham didn't even receive the support from our young lady. So it's I don't know. It was a shambolic moment. I got to watch it all yesterday, and I just, disappointing.
No, for definitely. And again, I was not, happy about seeing it. When I saw it, listen. It took me a while to get through anyway, for other reasons. But I was not happy about this. But yeah, I was like, just stereotype after stereotype, and it's just one thing after another. So it just wasn't a good look. And again, these things are just how do you call them in business talk? Learning opportunity. It's one of those things, isn't it? Where you just need to, again, however it works, we just need to be aware, conscious that at the end of the day, I think someone said it in the chat. These kind of this is a word, negative stereotypes, it works to their advantage. And I see a lot of, again, channels who all they do is just beef after beef and mess after mess and just negative depictions. It's drama, isn't it? It's entertainment, and again, it's a negative one. And Black women are on the butt end of that joke. You see what I mean? And it's never good.
Could have been much worse as well. We could have had a real tantrum, and we know who the tantrums came from, right? And it wasn't her.
That's true. Right? That's true.
We could have had the physical altercation as the stereotypical aggressor. So there were moments where we can say, okay, it didn't go their way, with her. But it was that woe is me story. And we have got some amazing single parent Black women out there that are striving and doing a lot within the community and have done incredibly well. So it's just unfortunate, but we will come together. We are a family. We're a community that come together and we push along. And we shouldn't be celebrating this situation. This is what I'm concerned about, because I think what happens sometimes with our community, we start to celebrate. Oh yeah, she was on TV. Oh, you were great. Oh, and then the next show comes and it's a bigger check, and then somebody else comes through, who's much worse. So
do you know what, you've said something really careful. You've said something there which is actually very true, isn't it? And is that the problem? Because opportunities, again, especially when it comes to acting and stuff, opportunities in general are very slim. Acting on TV. So is it a case where, and even back in the day, I forgot the name of the comedian. He was one of those. It was a Black guy he was a minstrel show, it was like a proper minstrel show. Is it a case where we see it as we need to get ourselves in the door any way we can do? Yeah. And then we think it's going to change the narrative once I'm here and I can bring all these people. Is that what you think it is?
Of course, they've positioned us to come in through a particular door, and we should say no. The door is closed. We don't need your money. And this is why it's so important for us to collectively start to think about ourselves now. Really start to think about our future. Think about what we're teaching those that are coming through. Because this isn't it. This isn't it. This isn't it. And it's unfortunate, because I wish someone was there to say to her, no, sister, don't. Pull away. Let me give you that check. Because it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make my point on that. It's an agenda. It's a system that we sometimes are blindsided by. Yeah, and there's money involved. So
no, yeah, money opportunities can corrupt, and the best of us, we can get Yeah, we have to feed our families. So
But
no,
big
no.
up for doing this show, White Matters, once again.
Yeah, and again, I just want to preface: it's not like a bashing show. I hope it hasn't come across that. It was just a call to arms. It ain't nothing about that. So if you're gonna get offended by this tone, then I can't help you. I really cannot help you.
Yeah.
But there are things that just need to be said. So it isn't no bashing. It's not no hating.
No, we
So,
need to chop it up. Initially,
yeah.
you know how I felt, but yeah.
Well, again, it's all a part of the. See, this is all a part of the YouTube game, and I'm going to be honest with people. This is a part of the YouTube game where it's like you need the bait and hook, but the content is more. Not about that.
We are. I think you and I, we have a love for our people, and you know, I respect what you do, and I'm glad that you brought this to our attention. I look forward to the other shows that you do on the other individuals, because I definitely have a lot to say regarding Miss Dominique. So
I can imagine. But no. And the thing is, if we don't talk about these things again, what I'm afraid of, what happens is we like to brush certain things on the carpet that doesn't need to be on the carpet. Because we're not in that space yet where other communities they seem to band together a lot better to give better representation, or worse representation it gets. You don't even hear about that again. Whereas ours is open in Front Street. So
we need to stamp this out and say no, not again. This can't happen again. This isn't glamorous like Love Island. So hopefully we won't.
Even that though, I mean, gosh.
I mean, it's very opinionated. There's views that are going to be very controversial, and many people are not going to agree. But let me let you continue. I'm going to go back in the chat and let your other panelists have a go. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, take care.
You too. Darth Raven, thanks for your patience. I just wanted to get the women really on their little 2 cents, you know, because I might, have some fire and all that, but it's all good. Welcome.
No problem. I sometimes struggle with the pace. I was busy bursting there, saying, I want to see that, and then Tash went and said it like that. Like the biggest point I was gonna make, Tash touched up on it. I said, oh man, now I'm gonna give up.
No, but you can still offer your viewpoint, and maybe you might have a different way of saying it, which says something different to the people. So no, by all means, my brother, keep going.
Yeah, it's probably a different way of saying it. With regards to this show as well, I didn't watch it, but as soon as I saw it on one article as well, I disregarded it straight away, right? I stopped watching British TV a long time ago because I was just tired of too much of the bullshit, too much of fakeness, and it's just, you can pick up on all the little insinuations. Racial insinuation. I got tired of it, and I just watch sports now. I am listening to music or watch sports, which is UFC sports. It's drama, but it's real drama. People fight. You understand?
You just
so
like me. Yeah.
So I only watch real stuff these days, right? I only watch real stuff. So I don't deal with all of that because I just saw too much, and it can warp you. It can warp you into a certain type of behavior, because if you internalize and accept it within, it can warp you, and then now you become that sideshow that you're watching, because that character this is how you're supposed to be, because the TV is projecting that at you, and you go to represent that character in social circles. It's very, very bad. One thing I can say with regards to what Tash said, yes, this is how I see it. Sometimes our people, in pursuit of career and social mobility, we tend to become overzealous in airing out our dirty laundry, in airing out our dysfunctional bits and habits as well. So yes, of course, you will see a lot of representation. We tend to air this out into the public in pursuit of careers. You know what I mean? Because maybe an acting position, she's a director, she's come up with something and say, maybe she came up with something and say, that's not accepted. So she came up with this and went with it. You understand what I mean? There's another show as well that I saw. It's called Chewing Gum. That's another dark-skinned lady. Look like
yeah. That won a lot of awards, that show. I've not seen it, so I don't know what it's about. But it's
won a lot of awards, is it? Oh gosh, man.
That
was a bad representation.
Okay, again, you have to tell me what that's about. But
I don't even know. All I know is just the aesthetics, everything. It just looked like this. Just of dark-skinned black woman, you know what I mean? Just running around chewing gum with her lips. The aesthetics looks bad. You know what I'm saying? I didn't watch it. As I said, I stopped watching British TV because as soon as I saw it, I was averse to it. You understand what I mean? So that kind of stuff, those shows, and you picked up, and then there's that EastEnders lady, that lady of EastEnders. They got her wearing this weird red wig and all that stuff. Right? Oh my god! And then they, the things they do on this, you know, it's all of them, and it's just terrible. But it's important, yes. What is projected to us, do we tend to replicate that? So those people who glue themselves to the TV, they go and represent those attributes to try and get along or be funny, because that behavior is expected of you from what people who might perhaps live in Surrey are not aware of black people. So they might think all black people are supposed to be like that guy they saw on TV character. And do you start to play that character in your social environment? So you have to be careful as well. You understand what I mean? So, and I said it, I think last week as well. Most of our kids, what's projected to them as to attainment as well. You kind of become a footballer, which is not bad. The lottery careers, you can win a lot, bro. But when you look at it on average, it's not everybody becomes that. So a lot of them don't get the good information to actually go and learn the technical skills that can give them a skill with their own hands and all that stuff. So that is important as well. And my biggest one ever is, what black TV personality on a regular have you seen that is an intellectual black guy on TV regularly, apart from Akala? All we have is just called jesters, funny men on British television. Big Nasty, I don't have any big problem with him. He's a good guy and all that. He's just funny man. The only person I've seen was that is American guy, and he's not even an intelligent comedian. I think Reginald D. Hunter as well. So this is quite important. We don't have any semblance of representative of an intellectual class on mainstream media. Perhaps we have bias. Maybe we have to create our own spaces for debate and conversation on many issues as well, and bring all these professionals in their career out and interview them. That will change the narrative in a way if we don't have it in British. Do you understand what I'm saying? I said too much.
No, 100%. Again, it's all about, again, like I said at the top of the show, image. Image is important, and how we present ourselves. And again, you mentioned we need our own media to do that properly, devoid of anyone outside hands. Because again, whoever pays you is the one who feeds you, isn't it? So, a lot of things are faces who'd say this, but truth be told, they're a little hand here, a little push there, and it's like, well, it's not really you. You're just a face of a failed mission. So no, I do get it. We do need that. The right representation, which we can agree on, or at least vote on, which the majority likes. So no, I hear you.
All that is positive in society, we don't have it. Even if we have it in amongst us individuals, we don't have it displayed as a collective, because collective representation is necessary, and to change people. That even though it's tough, because you wonder what generation does it take then to become a black Brit, because some people come here and they join up with their tribal group. Like me, I know my people in the UK, and there's that group and there's that group. So when do we finally adopt that one black British identity? Well, does it even matter? Either way, we need to see some representation through our ethnic. We need to see some representation of something, of all the positives in society. And so far in media, we're not seeing it. In fact, we're seeing the other one, the more dysfunctional. In fact, we're made to be called, just our accents, the way we talk, the things we do are meant to look as just things for fun and jest, and it's nothing intellectual. Your accent is, even the Jamaican accent a couple of years ago, they used to stupefy it, isn't it? They used to stupefy it, say, oh, we love the mango, we love the mango. Now everybody loves mangoes in the UK. But that's what they used to. They used to stupefy the Jamaican accent and say, "Oh, the Jamaican." You cannot expect anything intellectual from that accent, because the accent is just about, yes, man, what's up, man, mangoes and shit. You understand? So it's these little things that some people don't pick up sometimes. And for me, I've had enough. For me, this show, as soon as I saw it on article, I say it's just reaching. It's another attempt at black people trying to reach too much. And in fact, this doesn't go to help anybody, because you're just look at black people, or black British, and they're holding a cup of tea and all that kind of shit. In fact, people are revolted by that. Do you understand?
Yeah, no, I hear you. And to be fair, the show itself, a lot of people have a strong opinion on whether they consider themselves British. You mentioned tribes and stuff, and obviously the tea is meant to signify that they're British as the the stereotypical white person who drinks tea and that kind of stuff. So that's a whole nother topic.
I felt it was reaching. I saw that. I was like, oh man, and that's why I disregarded it. I said it was reaching. These days, any shit that I see, any bullshit that I see, I just tend to push it out of my brain and push it out of my space. I only deal with real shit in this world. You know what I mean?
Black people do drink tea. I know black people do drink tea, and I know, you know what I mean. So it's not necessarily out of the ordinary, but I get it's the sentiment which I get. Let me just pivot to Empress Kushti. So I want to make sure that I can get her viewpoints on this. So first off, welcome to the show. I think this is your first time on my show. So greetings and salutations. How are you doing today? This evening.
Best up. It's my first time, yes, and best up to the panel and everyone in chat. So I thought I'd come and support.
Awesome. Floor is yours. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think you've covered a lot of topics there. I mean, do you mean by your title? Do you want me to just start from there, or?
I suppose whichever way you wanted to come up with. I don't know if you had anything in particular, but we're sort of still talking about imagery and good or bad and representation. So I suppose let me start with this question then. Do you see currently representation when it comes to black women as being negative, positive? Sounds like a dumb question, but have to ask it.
I think it's definitely negative, just like with black people in general. Yeah.
Okay, and when it comes to this show, I don't know if you've seen this show, but
yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I suppose how did you feel about the depiction? Because again, the whole show there's only one real black person, the black female there. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, why myself? That was me. I don't know what your viewpoints on that sort of depiction at all. Was it just again water for ducks back, or were you kind of a bit enraged?
It was definitely noticeable as a black woman that it's called Black British and there's only one woman with two black parents, or a woman who actually classifies themselves as black, because the other two on there didn't even class themselves as black. They class themselves as mixed race. So yeah, that was interesting, but not surprising.
You weren't surprised?
Mm-mm.
There's another show I did about us being inclusive. Do you think that was...
What did you say, bro?
So there was a show I did about us black people being inclusive. Did you not like that they were there representing? I don't know. Or was that...
Who? The mixed race ladies?
Dominica and Lin May. Yeah, Lin May. Lin May? Yeah.
Because they were mixed race?
Well, because they identified as mixed. If they identified...
I mean, if you identified as mixed, then you go on black and mixed, to me. Or you wouldn't have more... you wouldn't have only one black woman who identifies as black on Black and British.
Yeah.
Definitely. I wouldn't have a problem with someone of mixed heritage being on there. But I just think, as I said before, I think they've just done a disservice to an individual of dual heritage who does consider themselves as black, because that individual wasn't represented there. So the mixed race person who does identify as black was not represented there. There was 3 women, one of them who was black, and the 2 mixed race women clearly said that they weren't mixed race. They weren't black. But that wasn't surprising to me. It was just, but I noticed that.
Yeah, no. And I did just about, it seems a lot of black women, again, I don't know how you feel about this, but they're being replaced by mixed women at the start. So it seems like black men at the moment have their place solidified. But black women, I feel as if your place is at threat from the powers that be. Do you see it the same way as well?
Because that's interesting, because your title it was kind of panning towards it was the black woman kind of responsible for this image, yet you could still identify that the erasure of the black woman.
Well, again, the title was just a title for a YouTube channel, and I think who is responsible is my title. So the question is, who is? And that was the idea here. I suppose my question then would be, who do you think is? Because I said to myself, it's a mixture when it comes to basically us as a community, the powers that be. So the question is, who is responsible? Who do you feel is responsible for it?
I think of this production, I don't think that particular, I wouldn't put the blame on that black woman, because I think she's in a, like I said in a comment, she's in a corporation, she's worked for the BBC. I don't think that she had that really much say. I think she probably had a few wins in there that we might have just not even have noticed I think that was the level of power that she might have had, you know. But yeah, I understand the culture, I understand the dynamics, and I understand that it's still a BBC production, so I can't expect one little producer to change a notion or an image that is portrayed worldwide by supremacy.
Okay.
I think in order for us to see what we want to see, we need our own media. And every time the BBC, Channel 4, Sky, CNN, or anyone, if we allow them to be responsible to market to us, this is what we're going to continuously get, their version of us. As what was said about the stereotypes and things prior.
Yeah, because again, immediately I picked up on that. I said it, stereotype. It was just, yeah, you reeled it off. So no, I hear you. Nani, you feel welcome. I think again, this is your first time on the show, so welcome to the show.
Yeah, bless up. Thank you very much. I mean, just even from what Kushi was saying, yeah, when we say we need our own media, etc., something I definitely agree with, right? But when I look at not even maybe platforms per se, but persons that are at least independent of their own material, yeah. Even if we were to say, maybe I'm not, yeah, musically, are we still portraying our right selves? Do you know what I'm saying? And I guess the question I'm asking that, like, have we got to a point whereby the entertainment vibration is so much whereby, do you know what I'm saying to you, the compromise, the trade-off, it doesn't balance out? Because for myself, as much as anything, sorry to blurt that out.
No, good, continue.
But for myself, as much as anything else, that was just entertainment. You know, like if you had a young person like watching that, what would you get from that program about being black and British?
But you know what though, they were supposed to be, because I don't know, I'm sure you know some of those people on there. They're the ones who are on TV. I see them on Good Morning Britain. I see them on GB News. I see them rolled out when it comes to Dominic Samuels, Lynn Maker, all of them. So these are almost our, what do you call them? Spokespeople for.
Nah, man, not mine, man.
Well, this is what, again, I was going to get into this in another stream. You know, the white people, the white media, they seem to roll them out. And whatever if you agree or disagree, we know that's the case. That's who they use. A lot of those people are who they use.
Absolutely, that's why we can't even take the program serious, man. It's just another entertainment block, man. It was terrible, man. It was an absolute fucking shit show, man. Excuse my French.
No. I want you to be as open as possible.
Yeah, it was a shit show, man. It's just to me, it's just propaganda. You know what I mean? It's just propaganda, man. Like,
you know what?
And it worked.
You know what? Why it matters? Yeah, I will definitely need to watch that. Listening from you guys, like, because it seems like it's very interesting. I don't know how I'll take it. Probably I'll regurgitate as well. But one thing I have to say is, in taking back our media, I don't think you can stop the amount of this kind of stuff emerging from the BBC, but we need to take attention away from it. As in, first, the most cheapest and most effective way is alternative media like this. Why it matters? Someone like you're good at speaking, you're good at interviewing people. You could start interviewing some different black people from different professional backgrounds as well. You can create that kind of momentum or narrative, not even narrative, that kind of, what's the word? A trend of interviewing black intellectuals all over from different walks of life as well. And then this could potentially show the young kids or project to the young kids what other black people are doing apart from what it's being presented.
But the thing is, though, sorry to cut in here, there are those people out there doing such things, right? But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the diet of the people in right now, it's not of that. Like, they've got us on such a negative diet that if someone positive does come out and do these things, they're going to click off, man.
But they're gonna kick off on the platforms they control, but on platforms that are decentralized, you know. So it's about taking away black people from the TV screens and giving them.
No, that I agree with. Yeah, I understand. That I agree with. I get that. But I'm just saying that the diet right now is so atrocious. It's an uphill struggle, man.
No,
not to be negative, but yeah.
No, 90. You make a great point about the diet, because again, you mentioned music, and again, music's an easy one, but it's true. the diet of everything right now is just negative. Again, it's propaganda, but it sells, and this is the problem, isn't it? We need to sell our so-called propaganda. And how do we get that diet to change from a fast food, crappy diet that's bad for your system to more of a I don't know, a vegetarian, vegan type diet with gourmet or something like that? Do you think that's possible, Nanitha? Is my question. Do you think we can?
I think because like I'm old enough to come from a time where the diet was better, yeah, I'm hoping that we can go back to a better diet, right? But for myself, it has to start with us banning out certain things that I think a lot of us ain't willing to ban out, or we find excuses for it and all this type of bullshit. You get what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? So I'm a woman, I will ban out grime all day long, yeah? Any lyric that talks about chefing, all of them things, them are bun it out. But I've heard so many people defend it. Oh, it's a way to get out of the hood. All these things. I'm like, well, find a different way, innit? You see what I'm saying to you? Because right now you got one man getting himself out of the hood, but it's affecting so many hundreds of thousands of people. Is that really worth it? Is the trade-off worth it?
No, it's not. No, it's
so
not.
I'm saying, as a community, we need to start banning out certain people, embarrass them, man. Just like we can catch a rapist. Like, ban out the clown, innit?
I was gonna say this. Do we need to shame? Bring, like proper shame these people? Like, no. You don't. This is not it. This is not it. Is that what you're saying?
I think there has to be a level of accountability, right, with the individual, but also as a community. Okay. Because if you allow a youth, I mean, not to take it down to a youth, right, but if you allow a youth to get away with it, they're gonna get away with it, innit? And you know us as a people, man. You give us an inch, we're gone. So I'm saying, as well as the individuals, as ourselves, we have to, you know what I mean? Ban out people, man. Because right now we're in a situation where we're becoming, or some people are becoming scared of the youth them. That's a problem. Because if you can't talk to the youth them, then you can't change the youth them. There's certain big man, they don't want to talk to the youth them. I mean, I'm going off again, but I'm saying to you, it's just different layers to the thing, innit? But yeah, man. No, why they call that Black Britain, I have no idea, man. It's a piss take. They're violating black people. It's a literal violation, man. You had a whole person up there calling herself Chung Lee or whatever the fuck she calls herself. And then it turns out that she's got a half white mum, half white, half... Was it half white?
Her mum was Pakistani. Yeah,
Pakistani, and a Bayesian dad that she don't know. That's our representation. On the move and go, man. And they didn't come and talk to Nanitha. No one didn't come and scout me out.
And the thing is, this is why I've said this. It was staged in a way because, again, these people aren't unknown. So a lot of it did seem to be played in a way which did seem to lead to this. Because again, Dominica Samuels, Lin Mai, they're not unknown, just random regular people. So when I saw that, I was like, it can't be that random. It can't be like I just send it out and there it is. So yeah, definitely.
Yo, Wim, did you hear when my girl said, "Oh, I don't even like the word black"? Huh? So we've got a half packet, no disrespect, but is this where we're at in 2022? We've got a half Pakistani, half white, with a bit of telling us which. Nah, man. We're supposed to bun her out, man. Bun her out, man.
It was a hard watch. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a hard watch.
It was ridiculous, Bedrin. And then the only young male is a man that talks about reaching man's G-spot.
I'm gonna talk about him. Bro, he was useless. He was irrelevant to the show.
Yeah, but no, he wasn't irrelevant to the show. He was very relevant. They were all very relevant. Yeah? They were handpicked to send us to hell in a handcart.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you,
This was an interesting conversation. Ultimately, it's for Black people to vote with their feet, to create alternative platforms. Thank goodness for YouTube. YouTube is actually quite an easy platform to get into. And then obviously people can build their own platforms the way they need to. You know, in terms of the youth, it's up to the parents. But it goes back into this whole propaganda thing of promoting a culture that doesn't lead to young people who are approachable. Because I'm sure a lot of those young people that you said people are scared of, they come from the same kind of dysfunction promoted in shows like this. So we definitely need to detach from the propaganda. But yeah, it's up to Black women to stop buying into it, because ultimately they're the ones who suffer the most. So with that being said, guys, have a good night. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, you too.
I'll catch you guys in the next one. Yeah.
Wait. Don't wait. That last comment, was it? Say that last bit again, bub.
What did I say?
Did you say it's ultimately it's up for Black women not to what? I missed the last part. Sorry.
To not buy into the propaganda.
Right.
And the propaganda is, yeah, we've got a fake culture. Oh, hi everybody, by the way. But the thing is, yeah, people subscribe to Black culture and Black, but there's no such thing as Black. Let's be real. Yeah, we all come from like different nations, and everybody reps that. But there's been a thing like a Black thing created, which people subscribe to, and you know, Negro culture, all detrimental things, and it's been pushed to the forefront by the people who control the media, because we don't control ours. So of course they're going to push out negative, silly programs like
yeah, but it hasn't always been negative though, bro.
Yeah, but it is currently now, and we're subscribing to it.
because it's propaganda, right? But let's not now start making Blackness now some negative thing, because once upon a time, that's what I'm trying to say in it. Once upon a time, there was a good foundation built on Blackness.
Yeah, but currently
so now,
today we don't have that.
2022. Say that again. Sorry, my bad. Go on, bad.
Look, as melanated people, we do have certain things and values that all link us together. That's cool. But under the title being Black, you know, everything like gets muddled up, mixed up, like it's a mess. And this is why people from the outside can come in, create a narrative and say, yeah, that's Black culture, because nobody owns it. It's open to everybody and it gets exploited, as we've seen. So, you know, and Black people buying into it, they're not to blame. We're not to blame, because that's all we see. So, you know, it's one of them, innit?
So what are you saying then, Baba? What are you saying then? If not Black, then what?
You get what you're giving, in it. Black people in the UK, we haven't got our own publications. Well, we have obviously now, but it feeds into the narrative what sells, and you know, whether it be drill or, you know, just bollocks, in it. It's because we don't have like the people don't subscribe.
Are you trying to say what, that we shouldn't be under a Black banner? What are you saying? I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm saying like basically, yes, this Black banner, what we have, it's not authentic. It's not, because you know,
authentic.
It's not, because
it's a construct that was given to Western Black people by white people.
Exactly. Okay. And that's why what people are living up to, some fake thing. So it's like, you know, that there's a person called Sweetie in America. She is the stereotypical of this Black culture thing, right? She's running with it because she's got a bit of hue, and that's what it is. I don't like that shit. It's bollocks, you know what I mean? But that's what's been plastered as Black culture. So, you know, it's a mess, I say. And everyone should subscribe to the nationalities. Like, where's everyone?
Exactly, my
bro. To their nationalities.
There's a problem with that as well, though. One sec.
So, what's your nationality?
Listen, I'm Ghanaian. I'm Black British. I'm Ghanaian. I was born here, innit?
Wait. But you hold on a minute, man. What's your nationality?
I'm Black British.
That's not. What's your nationality?
Oh, what do you mean? I'm Ghanaian. Like, my dad's Ghanaian and my mum's Antiguan, and I was born here, so I'm Black British.
You see how many things you just said, yeah? That's not your nationality. So already that's problematic. Sorry?
Well, what is it then? I've just explained to you what it was.
No, what you've explained is your parentage, your heritage, etc., etc.
Okay.
You said Black, Ghanaian, then you told me about your mom and this and that.
Yeah.
What does nationality mean, Bab?
Yeah, where I live in England.
All right then. So what's the nationality?
So I'm not English though. I'm British.
So then exactly then. So when you're then saying we should go by nationality, it's a non-starter, isn't it? Because you're already
Okay, cool.
family.
Okay, so what
I
I'm
think he
saying,
meant ethnicity. I think he
No,
meant
he said
ethnicity.
nationality. So
I
I'm
meant
Ethnicity,
what
thinking something else when you
ethnicity
say
that is
it.
on.
Yeah, but I
Ghanaians,
think we know what he means, isn't it?
you know what
All
I
right,
mean.
go again then, bruv. No problem.
No, it's all love. But what I'm saying is, okay, so my culture, it will be fabricated because I haven't got a black British culture. Let's be real. You know what I mean? What I have got is what I've learned from living and growing up here, innit? And that's from the images I've seen. Okay, do you get it? I would have been rather happy to be like subscribed to Ghanaian culture or Antiguan culture. Do you get it?
But Zach, let me chime in here because check this out, right? When we came over here, like Jamaicans, let's use this example. They were seen as being yardies. They were seen as being all these holy heap of mess, which a lot of Jamaicans didn't subscribe to, and that's a nationality. So a lot of times it's not about what you subscribe to; it's about what the powers that be tell you are. So whether you want to call yourself black, Ghanaian, whatever it is,
I'm classed as black, yeah.
Exactly.
But you know what I'm trying to say. But in terms of whatever you want to, if you want to subscribe to, then unless we don't control what it is that we put out there for the culture, like Nigerians, then scammers, frauds. You see what I'm saying? So already,
yeah, but they're Nigerians. Despite if it's a bad stigma, it's Nigeria. They're black Nigerians.
that's a white man's creation, Nigeria. Like Ghana is a white man's creation.
Well, that's interesting, then.
I mean, I'm going a bit too deep and it's going off topic a little bit, but like Nigeria and Ghana didn't exist before Europeans got there and conquested that. The West Africa did it. It wasn't Nigeria. That's why you have your tribes, wasn't it? You see what I mean? So all
that's fair, but we're not. What I'm saying is we're not indigenous to Black Brit, like to England. Do you get it? There's no black.
No, I get that, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. So whatever culture we have got has been made, sort of thing.
Yeah, but culture evolves, isn't it? And whenever you move to a place, you do take your culture of your parents, but you evolve the culture in the land that you're in, don't you? So
that's fair, exactly. So this culture right now is a bit, you know.
It wasn't that way, but it wasn't that way. This is what Nanif was saying. It wasn't that way. So whatever you want to call it, label and call yourself, it wasn't that way. But now it's descended into that way because we had shows like, I don't know if you remember, it's like Fosters. That was supposed to be a British version of The Good Times in the US. It had Norman Beaton in there. Lenny Henry was in there. You had, again, the Desmonds. There was a lot of good shows and good propaganda that was out there, you want to call it that way. And now it's disintegrated into what it is now. So,
and that's my point. I'm just saying it can't be really defined. How do you define it? Like, how do you actually define it? Black culture. So that's all I want to know.
Yeah. What was I going to say again? I think that's what I said. When do we become actually Black British? Because we all come from many different types of communities here, and all of us most likely have some other cultures back then as well. And most likely people are attracted to dysfunction, and the dysfunctional part of our or cultures or what is seen as black in the UK, that's what's projected as well. And why it matters, I really will take you on this. I think you're definitely a good speaker. Even if you don't put your face on the screen, I think it will do a lot to create a trend on the online space where we're interviewing black or talking to black professionals from all across their walks of life. If we create this trend, this will go to project. It's not even about what you do, your job, or everything. You understand? Talk about everything, all the positive, and bring it out here. This will get the kid a place for the kids to turn to. Because I think by the time they get to our age, they will be sick of the programming and the amount of bullshit, and they will be looking for a place to go. And I think these kind of platforms is a great way to show what's really happening on the ground, not what the TV has to say. I keep repeating that, but anyways, never mind.
No, I hear, and I'll think on that offer about interviewing and whatnot, because I don't mind interviewing people. I like doing that, interviewing different types of people. So no, I do like doing that on this channel, this small channel here. So appreciate it. So I suppose then let me ask this question, get kind of back on topic then. So we're all kind of saying the same thing, but let me just understand it. Do we all think that we have the ability to control our image? Do we think that's possible to do that? We do have our own type of publications. The Voice online is still about. There are different type of, again, like YouTube channels, social media channels. Is that effective enough? Because I see a lot of great channels out there which I subscribe to, which don't get the pull that it should do. I'm like, there's so much interesting topics and good people, and they just don't get the pull. Open question to anyone.
Because the people, you know, they will go to what they want, and they obviously don't want that. That's why it's not getting play, you know. So, boy.
Yeah, we just have to continue to counter it, because the machine that actually, like the BBC or whatever, they have a lot of money behind them. They can, they're on every platform, they can put up billboards. There's a lot of money gone into the mainstream. So we just have to build up an alternative. So when people do go looking for an alternative, they can find it. And, it takes a lot to support. It's going to take a lot to help those smaller channels that are producing a lot of quality content it's going against the propaganda, to really get up there. But it will happen, but it will take time. It will take time, it will take money, it will take people promoting those channels so that they can actually get the traction and change people's mind. Because I know we want to go back to the original topic, but this is about culture, and culture is the way you eat, the way you dress, the way you speak. And a lot of Black culture is influenced by, or Western Black culture is influenced, well, now globally, by America. And American culture is actually slave culture. It's, unintelligent, physically strong Black males and overly sexual, hardworking females. And that's what was happening during slavery. Men couldn't read, but they could work. And women were just there at the whims of white people for labor and caring for white people's children and basically being sex objects. And now in the 21st century, it's the same. You have unintelligent male mumble rappers and, sports people. And then you have like the over-sexualized Black female. It's the exact same paradigm that was kind of perfected in the States. And now it's being mass marketed as so-called Black culture to the rest of the world. So in order for us to break the mind control, we have to recognize what the plan is and then support alternative media. Now, this time I'm really going. You guys have a great evening. Take care, guys. Bye.
Right. I mean, I definitely disagree about that last point about American culture being slave culture. And I know some people are disagreeing with that one. So I'll leave that at that. But I definitely disagree with that, Lady A. Their culture is not that case at all. That is so not the case. Lonatoria, you've come back. Sorry, did anyone else want to say anything at all? Kushti, you've been quite quiet at all. I don't know if you wanted to put your 2 pence to anything.
Yeah. Sorry, can you just repeat what the
Well, I suppose can we change our image in these types of spaces? Again, a lot of the good shows that I like, intellectual shows which have good representation, they don't get their views. And I know we've been talking about image and how we can control that. How do we get that to be the diet? I suppose is the question. Can we do it? Is it?
Definitely think we could change it around. But I think relying on like the powers that be at the moment is just not going to happen. We're just going to have to do that definitely by ourselves.
Agreed. I don't want to sound cliche, but change starts with self. And, as long as we're doing good and putting out a good image and not subscribing to the bullshit, I think we'll be okay. Well, we will be okay.
I mean, even the things such as, was it drill that got mentioned? The real problem with that is just the lyrics. So if there was a strong stance like there is, where you don't necessarily hear the P word or C word in any of those lyrics, then if there's a strong stance from the community saying that we just don't want to hear about these particular things, not to stifle, creativity, but just to put in principles in, then there wouldn't really be a problem with drill. If we wanted to see something that was of comedy or of entertainment, we could definitely create that because we create for everyone else. It's just the content. So to say, I definitely believe that we can create because we are the creators. We are what are dominant, whatever is dominant and popular at the moment is probably us behind it. So there's no worry of us being innovative and creating more content. It's just the type. That's the worry. That's what we need to be monitoring or safeguarding. If that makes any sense.
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead, Lauren. But no, it did make sense, Kushti. It did for sure.
Yeah.
From what I understand, this image of Black people has taken years to manufacture. It has taken people in groups, white people in groups discussing what are we going to do. It takes psychologists and psychiatrists to put out such an image. So it has taken so many years. So if I'm thinking, let's say these people are really committed to have this image continue going out, white and Asian, because nowadays Asian is really just the same mindset against Black people. So if they are really committed to this, what can we do? I mean, it's like fighting the machine. So I think the smallest thing we can do, because thinking of we're going to create our own media and all those things, it really takes a long time and it takes a lot of effort to do these things. Even to start a small YouTube channel, to get followers, I mean, it takes a lot. But what I think we can do as people is just like what you were saying in the beginning, to have our own backs. Like if someone is doing something, if a Black person is doing something, just know it's going to affect you as well. Like, for example, like sometimes I get surprised, like I'm running for a train or a bus and it's a Black woman responsible for to click on the button and let people in. And she lets me stand there rushing, fighting with my phone. I'm like, like you could just push the button. I'm Black. I'm like, my winning is your winning. But other people work in these ways. Like you've seen these judges in America, when it's even an Asian, even if they've killed someone, they will stand behind that Asian person to protect their own image. They protect each other in every single way. If a white person is going to buy something, they make it easy for them. So I think we as Black people anywhere in the world, we need to start to have our own backs in every small thing before we go to the big thing, which is the TV and the image, because there is really a real war we will have to fight to change. So, but the small thing is to have our own backs just in small things. So then it can grow to even come to TV. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
I totally agree. Just a quick departing message, because again, we are behind as Black people. So in what our culture has to be is working hard and conquering and building families, because boy, like we are behind and we've got a lot of work to do. So we haven't got time for focusing on entertainment. We got work to do, boy. So yeah, but peace and love, everybody. Enjoy your evening.
Appreciate you for coming, Zach. So I appreciate that. And yeah, for the new people, for my new guests and everything, please make sure you subscribe, like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you listen on the playback as well. So I appreciate each and every one of you. So just want to make sure I say that. Anyway, yeah, hi. I know you're waiting, so let me.
I just wanted to say I like the show. The TV thing, I saw it. Didn't see anything wrong with it. Well, actually, I did. I wish they had more people, because I think they should have had more. The group they had wasn't enough. They should have had more people. But the group they've got, I thought it was good. You got a good mixture of people there. Not everybody's reading from the same script. That's the reality of England. And those people, they were completely different from each other on their perceptions. You know, the Black woman, I didn't actually have a problem with her.
So you didn't have a problem with the fact that it was I mean, I don't know if you read into it like this. The only Black woman there, the self-defined Black woman, let's say that, who by 20, she had 2 kids, like no mention of a man, and she was a security guard. It's all had these kind of tropes about, again, she was dark skinned as well. Again, I mean, it's just almost like it was like line after line after line. You had no problem with that image that was beamed out.
No, because when I go out on the street, I see Black women who are like that. What am I going to do? Pretend that they don't exist? Yeah, they are part of our existence.
What I'm trying to say here is, sorry, go ahead. I'll come back.
I'm just saying they are part of our existence. We might not like it, but we can't pretend that they don't exist. You do have certain Black women who are single mothers who for whatever reason ended up raising their kids, becoming mothers at a young age. But like I said, they should have had more people there. But she is an example of a particular group of Black women who do exist. She's not evil. She's not bad. But her predicament is something which is true.
But I suppose it's not about evil or bad. It's like this. I, as a Black man, wouldn't want a man on there who was, again, engaging in criminal activity and almost, I suppose, glorifying it and saying these kind of things, because even though it exists and we know this, there's certain things where, as a people group, especially if you're a minority with not really much power, you're like, well, do we have a code that we need to exist to say, look, we know it exists? Again, I'm trying to use an example. It's probably a really bad example here of like Jews because they have power, but there's always messing that happens in other communities. It's just sometimes it doesn't have to be always out on Front Street. You see what I mean? And so I know it exists.
Jews are a bad example because Jews don't even control their image. They're always depicted as rich people with who are scrupulous, so it's not even a good image.
What about so in the UK then South Asians? They're obviously another minority group. There's certain things unless you're in that group, you don't know what exists, and there are a lot of things which get swept under the rug because they are from the outside very, very, very collective.
So you didn't like, just to be sure, you didn't like her because, well, you didn't like the selection of choosing her because she became a mother at a young age. She had big nails. She had the weave or the relaxed hair. Is it that type of stuff? And she was a security guard.
Optics, all the optics.
I think it's more so when big up yourself, Witness. Sorry, but for myself, like I agree with you, Witness. I think they would have done much better if they were to have had more programs, right? To actually at least to show a better representation, I believe in it, because they condensed it into 2 programs, and where, like I said, the main actual black female, remember it's called Black British, and like the gentleman was saying, the one that actually self-identified as being black, like to me, Witness, nah man, they could have done better, man. Nah man.
Yeah, well, this is why I said they should have had more people.
No, and that's why I agree with this. I completely agree. But the one they did choose, no.
I tell you one thing that's a side.
And then when you put them, and then I'll finish here. And then when you put them against the half Pakistani, half white, Bayesian, and then the other one, I don't even know what her thing was. What was the one from Manchester or something? What was her mix?
Her mother was mixed. I can't remember what her father was mixed twice. What her father.
You see what I'm saying to you? Man, you do us bad, man.
The other thing I wanted to say, which made me laugh, why is it they all dressed up nice and smart, relatively, when they were in the mansion? Then when they were going to see Respect and Forever Family, they all dressed up in tracksuits.
Well, they were on the street and stuff, weren't they? So I don't know if you saw it. They were more about, I don't know, but they were.
And then the doctor.
Oh, see, I missed the first bit. Witness, give me a summary of that one.
And the doctor, the Nigerian doctor, who dressed up so smartly, all of a sudden he's walking around in a vest and tracksuits. They
were going to they were going to a place where it was about almost like a soldier. It was a sort of a neighborhood type watch times 10 in it. So it wasn't. I think that was the reason why they were patrolling the street. So it was like probably different attire for that type of event.
It just looked bizarre. Even Andrews was in tracksuit. What was that?
Listen, I hear you, but that's the sort of thing I can say. That's the sort of thing I can say.
It was bizarre.
So, Witness, let me ask you a question here. From what you saw, would you call that more educational or entertaining or entertainment?
Oh gosh, it wasn't entertaining because it got really serious. I mean, people were breaking down, they were arguing, people were crying. Now, unless you're a heartless person and you find that entertaining, it got really deep and serious. They were really debating amongst themselves, and they edited it a lot because you couldn't see Kehinde Andrews' opinion. Most of the time, he was always quiet, and I'm sure he was talking. They just cut out what he was saying. But people broke down, people left. Then there was the guy who revealed that he's gay, and then it was a big argument, and he left and came back. It wasn't entertaining at all. It got really serious. Then there was the lady talking about she went to school. When she was in school, she got expelled, and she realized it was her fault, and she knew to learn from that. And Kehinde Andrews was angry with her, saying, "Why did you say that? It was the school that was racist towards you. It was systemic racism." And she goes, "No, it wasn't." And I thought that was good because it showed that Black people or biracial people are not a monolith. They have completely different views.
But let me cut in on this one because I'm doing this stream later on today, and this annoys me when I hear this, and a lot of conservatives do this. Why do you ever think we were a monolith? We've never been one, and I hate it when they tag us with that mess, because even in our struggles, and I use the classic example, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, we've never been a monolith, and I really hate how they try and use it as a trope to bash a lot of Black people in the head. when it comes to these kind of situations. I'm like, we've never been one, so I never understand how people use that as an example.
Because they expect certain people who are representing black people to dress in a certain way, talk in a certain way, have a particular political belief, have a particular cultural way, music and whatever. So they say, well, this is what you're supposed to be. And then when you get a black woman and a black guy who do not adhere to that, then you could get the black police coming out to revoke their black card and say, well, you ain't really representing us. You're not really part of us. You're bougie or you're something else. So it's like, that's why in that show, there were certain people there who said they really had to stand out and say, listen, you don't speak for all of us. Because the gay black guy actually said to the biracial person, you can't talk for black people because you're against black people. And she was like, how can you dictate to me? You're not my master. You can't dictate to me. My opinion is my opinion. You can't say that my opinion does not fall in line with what black people think. Because that came up in that show. The gay guy was actually like bashing her, saying that
yeah,
she doesn't
but
represent
wait. But
So
witness
it was like,
falling
you
in
had to have
line
a
with.
view.
Yeah, but and this is what I'm trying to say, where it becomes shaky ground, right? Because falling in line with is completely different to being of, right?
Right. Falling in line with is different from, what was the other part you said?
To being, because the lady that said that, that's Chung Lee, right? I know that's not her name, but I just can't remember.
It was Dominique Samu who said that, I think.
It was,
yeah, the other one,
okay, it was the other one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, because these two young ladies seem to definitely have like a, I don't want to say anti-black agenda, but I can't think of a better word right now than anti-black agenda. And like I said, one of them said, well, I would rather we do away with the word black. Now, when a person that's just got a, I don't want to be disrespectful, man, but when a person that's just got, what was it, a quarter black is trying to tell me that's fully black, can't be ignored, do away with it, I find that offensive.
So apart from her, was there anyone there? Did you like any of the guys?
Me? So is that question to me?
Not even about
well, out of you, I'm curious because I've heard the critique for the black woman who was there, and I've taken it on board and I understand it. Even though I don't have much of a problem with her, I can understand where both of you are coming from when you do offer your critique.
I mean,
like I said, witness for myself. I just, if they had a few more characters that had like a wider representation, then I might have, you know what I mean, coped a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, especially for the females, because there were 3 females, right?
Yes.
Do you think there was a good representation of black quote unquote Britain?
No, that's why I said I wanted them to have had more people.
Yeah, all right then. So we definitely agree upon that point. 100%, man. Yeah.
Because they are black women who don't. Well, like I said again, even though I'm going to use that word, that white matters hates that we're not a monolith. So yeah, someone could see that and think that all black women are like that black woman, and they're not. Black women are very diverse, different, and everything. Yeah. So yeah, I understand what you guys mean. But from the guys' point of view, did you like any of the guys? I'm curious. Or do you think they were a bit dodgy?
Professor.
Okay,
but
Kende.
I did want to say that Nine and the brother WIM, you both are talking at a place of position, privilege. You know, beggars can't be choosers. We don't dictate, so that's what they're gonna show us. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't expect much because it's up to them to decide what they're going to show of us. So, you know, while you're both saying that, you know, you didn't like this, you didn't like that, you know, tough luck because we're not them and they don't care about us. And that's the attitude that they think of us. And, sorry?
I say, on a situation like this, though, can you say it's a beggars can't be choosers when they decided to go by them? It was like they put them names forward. I don't know. What do you say in that situation? I'd rather, sounds horrible, starve.
So you would rather no programs representing the Black British experience from them? Is that what you're saying?
If it's a negative, if it's an overall negative depiction, my viewpoint is.
Yeah, but my viewpoint is, bro, it's always going to be negative. That's what I'm saying. It's always going to be negative if they're the ones manufacturing it.
I agree with you, Empress. It's always going to be negative when a black person is on TV.
I don't know. I've seen some intellectual blacks on TV who've done a good job. Dr. Shola, what's her name?
I can't
She's
pronounce
quite
her name,
good.
but yeah.
And then what's his name? Kane Day. He comes on. He's quite good. You've got Femi Thingy, who was like a Remainer, pushing for the Remainer cause. He's okay. Then
But
you've
those
got some of the black Labour MPs like Dawn Butler, even though I'm not a Labour supporter. She
But
makes a
that's
good
the
point.
thing. Like most
So let me
times,
tell you something. Sorry, sis.
Can
I
I
just
say
want to.
something?
I just
Yeah,
want to reply to
that's
what he
something
said to my
else.
comment. I just want to say to him, do you think we'll ever see all of them on one show representing as Black British positive images like that, bro?
Well, no.
Exactly my point.
No.
Yeah.
They
There
will
was
never give
one
that
time.
to
There
us.
was one time on Sky they were having a discussion about Meghan Markle, and for some reason they brought on these 3 black ladies to comment, and it was Dr. Shola, it was Gina Yashere, and there was another woman.
Was it
but they
June
were all.
Sampong?
No, not her. It was another woman, and all 3 of them were like British Nigerians, and they're all. I know Gina Yashere is like a comedian and entertainer,
But
but
this
she's
is
quite
one
good
thing
in talking, and it was really good. The way
we
they
always miss
projected themselves, it
something.
was good, but it was a
Can I
one-off.
say something? We always miss something when these good representatives are on TV. We think they are all good, but there's always one thing. Like if you observe clearly, there's always one thing they say that is off. Either it's a mindset or it's something. That's why they keep them on TV. So if you really observe and look through all of it, that's when you pick it out. But you can never see it because they look so good. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on TV if they didn't have any shady thing, like an image or something that's off that they are representing. So that's why they're on TV. So I don't think any of them are 100% good. I think the good ones are even more dangerous because you can't point out what's it. Like you can't figure it out. So
which one's which?
Yeah, it's always bad.
You know the main point of that program? To bring out the Kenyan sister to tell us that there's no racism.
What, the Dominique woman?
No, Mercy Maloku, I think her name is.
Where was she? I didn't see her on it.
Yeah, she's on the second episode. She's on
the second one. Okay,
yeah. I saw her because again they brought out this typical characters. So when I saw her, I knew exactly what she was going to say because again, yeah.
You see what I'm saying to you, brother? It was a shit show, man. So I'm so sorry, man. But and then she's saying, oh, and then the other one was like, oh no, it's not racism, it's the family, it's the parents, and all of these things. You know what I'm saying to you? So people like that, yeah. Come on, man. Oh dear. Sorry, it just frustrates me, man, because we just fall for the same hokey all the time, man.
But
crazy.
There was a silver lining, though. They did show other black perspectives because they did show Forever Family, and they did have quite a long time to give their view if you support Forever Family. So
do you know what, Witness? I did miss the first bit, so I need to go back on mute, man, because I didn't see that positive bit. Sorry.
But that's the thing. To create good damage, you have to put something good. Otherwise, it will be just bad and it will be too obvious. So this is what I'm saying. Like this image of black people is worldwide. It takes a lot of thinking and psychologists to put out this image. Like the people who wrote this, they are not stupid people. They really understand the image. They understand a lot of things. So to put it together, it really takes a lot of intelligence, evil intelligence. So it's not easy.
Maybe it's just not. Maybe it's just me. I'm just like I see it's just we need to be hell of a lot more vocal, and because there are things that took place, especially the last couple of years, where because of the vocal nature of it, a lot of things were done. So I don't know. I think we especially and I did make a note of this. Have men drop the ball in this because obviously as men we're supposed to be the leaders. We should have more of a charge to say, no, that ain't right. Or we should have this kind of mentality. So I don't know. Maybe it's just how I see things in that respect. It's like, I hate that. Oh, they're the ones controlling the media. They're the ones doing this. No. Bun that. Forget that. So I don't know. That's just how I see things.
Well, they are.
You're right.
Bro.
I know that.
Both of you are absolutely right.
It's like letting it lie. It's like letting it live. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can't do anything. I don't like that. That's one thing I kind of hate. especially
What
coming
we-
out from my mouth. I hate coming out my mouth saying that as a guy. Just don't sit right on my tongue. So
I mean, both of you are right. What Christy said and what you've said, and I think in regards to what you're saying, a solution. Maybe we could be like the Jews, because the Jews are united. They have like a voice. So if there was a show that demonized Jewish people, they would lobby and protest, and they would get stuff done like that. I think somehow politically, but it's like, how would we be unified? Because we're from so many different backgrounds. It's easy for them. They're just Jews. So they say, okay, we unify under this Jewish banner, and we have this media outlet where we will complain if we see a negative image of our people. And I don't think we have that power. We should
exactly witness. That's how they came and effed up the word black. That's my point, man. Because we were doing all right under that.
there was
Then
a
time come, and they say that again, Bab. Sorry.
sorry. Continue, Nanny, and then I'll.
No, I was just saying, I agree, right? But I'm saying, I think personally, at least, that there was a time where we were doing all right under the banner of black. You know what I mean? Which sort of brought everyone under it, right? Black, African, Caribbean, etc., etc. But it's been demonized over this last decade, I would say.
Yeah.
Whereby now we're hearing people say things like it's a social construct and all of these things, right? So yeah, man, I just think it's taking us back, to be fair. But let's go in slightly to the left still. But yeah, man.
It's all these damn new generation, these young whippersnappers. I know the generation you're talking about, 90s.
Yeah, and you can see how the impact that is made, right?
Yeah.
So I find it very disconcerting, to be honest, man. But
if you went back to the 70s, the 80s, you said black culture.
Come on,
knew
man.
the people you were talking about, and you knew what it was about.
Come on,
but
man.
nowadays, because there's been a lot of changes socially, politically, mass migration of people from different parts, they're like, whoa, don't call me black. I'm not black. That's a social construct. What is black? You know, so it's like, okay, black British culture. Oh, well, what is black British culture? So, okay.
I can't stand that argument. I always zone out on it now because it's just to go around in circles.
Yeah, it's a diversion tactic.
Yeah, I just can't.
Just before I bring Fiona in, so appreciate your patience, Fiona. There was one thing you talked about, how can we do this? And someone in the chat talked about lobbying needs a lot of investing. There was a show, US example, it was, I think it was forgot the show, it was in VH1, where a guy had like 8 kids with 8 different women, and was going to show it. I forgot the name of the show. If anyone knows this story, please put it in the chat.
Yeah, it's Oprah Winfrey's show.
No, it wasn't Oprah Winfrey's. No one Oprah Winfrey's. It was a VH1 show. This was not too long ago. This was after Oprah Winfrey had gone off the air. But I think it was Shorty Low or something like that, where he was talking about his life, and it was just a complete mess. And they petitioned it not to be aired, and it never got aired because just by the title, it could have been a nice, wholesome family. This guy having all these holy kids with all these different women, but they're like, no, we don't want that. And a petition was signed, and they got that off the air before it even released. So
yeah, I think that was done by a majority of black women as well.
I can't remember exactly who, but I do remember. I'm trying to remember what it is called.
I remember there was one. I do think I remember what you was talking about, and I think there was another one like of. I don't know if that one actually got done though, but I do remember that time where there was something that they were petitioning and they won. But when I saw it, it was definitely done by women, the black women doing that and pushing that.
Yeah, there's also a new one by Tina Knowles, also Beyonce's mom, that the government are trying to stop. So I hope they get it through. So, like, you can stop these things, but I don't know in the UK if it's possible, because it's like the mother of all manipulations.
Well, this is where we need to sort of, and this is why I'm saying we need to stop, it's the people controlling it. I'm like, all right, cool. But, there's options that we can at least do something to try and do something about it, or try to do something about it. Fiona, let me come to you, because I know you're probably itching to say something. Welcome first off, good evening or good night, I suppose. And
Hi, good night. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Good.
Oh, floor's yours.
I didn't have too much to say. I only saw a short snippet of the documentary that was shown. And from what I can see, I didn't have a problem with it. I will say that I think that certain issues within the Black community are magnified. I actually saw the positives in her. So I thought she looked very fit. She looks like she works out, which is a stereotype that apparently black women are overweight. So she didn't fit into that stereotype. She could have probably chose a better hair in terms of presentation, but I think the fact that she looked fit and healthy was good. And I actually admired the fact that she appeared to sound hardworking, and she's doing security work, which, okay, we can all kind of turn up our noses, but at least she was providing for her children. And the thing is, this is the representation that I've always seen of single mothers as well within the community. I've never seen them in the same way that other people view them, as some sort of stain. I've always seen them, or at least the ones around me anyway, as hardworking women. So in terms of that aspect, I didn't have a problem with her, and she didn't seem like she was rowdy or over the top, as other people said. And as the other gentleman said, we're not a monolith. I know you hate that word. And if you're just relying on terrestrial television in this day and age to give your full representation of black people, when there's so much more media, especially for young people, I don't think they're relying on terrestrial television anyway. And there's so many, as you say, decent variations of representation within other forms of media. And in terms of in the UK, have black women ever solidified their presence on television in the UK? I'm not sure. We had things like Three Non-Blondes, someone mentioned Desmond's. I mean, these things weren't really on prime time, at prime time. Three Non-Blondes was on BBC Two. I can't even remember what time that came on, but it was all, that program that was based on the Hackney Empire. It was all sort of out of the prime time hours. So I don't think in the UK, black women have ever solidified our representation in the UK in the media. I mean, I can think of some programs with black men, as you mentioned, like Luther, with Idris Elba. But in general, I don't know if you can, Why It Matters, think of any program within the UK where black women have been at the forefront, maybe as a sidekick, have been a main character, not biracial. I just wanted to make that distinction because people, some people recognize biracial as black, which is fine. I think it's slightly, they do have their own category on the census, and they have two different parents. So personally, I think the upbringing is slightly different. But yeah, I just wanted to, if you could think of anyone or any time where black women have had a solidified position on UK television as a main, other than a sidekick, as a main thing that was ongoing. Even in music, we had Eternal, which was propelled by Louise Redknapp. When she left, that went down the drain. So, I mean, when have we ever held our own? We had, what was the Mystique, the three ladies,
biracial,
two biracials and one black. So we've never really solidified a position on our own that I can think of. Yeah. I just wondered what your thoughts were on that.
I mean, answer your question, short answer is no. I can't remember at all. And this is why probably for me, I know you didn't have too much of a problem, but for me it was just optics, because you don't have a solidified position. You say you're not a monolith, but then it sort of, they form, because the unfortunate representation, as slender as it has been, not been great. See what I mean? And the stats about IR dating, the comments that black men have about black women over here, about all these kind of stereotypes, which again, I put the stats about, single motherhood is coming down. So all the tropes that come off the back of that. So it's just, I know it's just another thing which just doesn't need to be the case. And unfortunately, it had to be the black woman. It couldn't have been the biracial. If it was a biracial woman, I'll be honest with it, it'll be a different combo. I'd be like, okay, that's different-ish. But
yeah, and I agree with you in that respect. I mean, I think there was a lady from Towie, Essex show, that became a single mother, and instead of calling her a single mother, I noticed they called her first-time mother. So the connotation was different. They didn't refer to her as a single mother as they would have with a black woman. So I found that quite interesting. They gave her own show about being a first-time mother and not a single mother. So yeah, I think that as I said in the beginning, everything is magnified in the black community. Like there may be high rates of crime with youngsters in Glasgow, but they're focusing on the high rates of crime black youths in London. Everything is magnified. to the nth degree. So yeah, that's my opinion on that.
No, I agree. And I made this comment, I don't know if you heard this, about how when it comes to even on certain social media platforms, you have a non-black woman acting up in a worse way than a black woman, but the black woman will get more heat from black men about this, and the non-black woman get off scot-free pretty much. It's like when it comes to non-black women, it's called women. When it comes to black women, we have to prefix it. It's black women's fault. You see what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
because you're in that precarious position, especially over here, I'm like, it sounds horrible, but you have to be like more careful because of that fact. It's horrible, but it's until we solidify us as a group, and then definitely black women, it's like, I mean, I unless you think differently, that's kind of like, it's a lose-lose situation. I'm to be honest with you at this moment of time.
Yeah, and I agree. But yeah, I mean, I'd have to go back and watch the documentary to see what you all were commenting about. But from what I saw from that 5-minute clip, I sort of admired her, and for having 2 children. I mean, she's got a better body than most of us that haven't had. So, you know, I just thought, oh, and she's hardworking, she's got a job, she's not living off welfare. So there were certain stereotypes that she didn't actually you know, fit in with. So, but I can see, because of the whole having children early, and as you say, the numbers are now dropping. More black women are going into further education, which you know, people don't like either. So it's a lose-lose situation. If you go into further education and focus on something other than having kids, you're wrong. If you have a child early on, you're wrong. So yeah, and it's either, it seems to be one extreme or the other. There's no in between. So yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from.
But I will say this though, and again, I like to be fair, is that you're right though. There are good positives away from that, because again, I don't think, I didn't really go into the story. I don't want to spoil it. I didn't really go into her story about the son, but the son just seemed to be, he's a working guy. He wasn't in trouble. I don't know any history of his background in terms of criminal activity. So at the end of the day, it's like, well, she's raised I believe two just upstanding human beings who were just going about their life, and obviously this took place with a stop and search. So so yeah, there's definitely a yeah, it gets negative, it gets magnified, and everything's negative.
Yeah, that was my only point, other than we can rely on other streams of media to see other representations as well. And I think it's really difficult to have this conversation without bringing in the States as well, the America. As you probably have found, yeah, I think our position's slightly different. I think they do have a little bit more representation, and actually some of it that's positive. I don't agree with what was said before about slave culture and all that. I actually like a lot of the American black culture, and I actually think a lot of it is positive, but I think the negative kind of outshines that. And you know, I'm not going to act like a hypocrite and pretend I don't listen to the music, I don't watch the films and things like that, because yeah, I think we'd all be lying if we said we weren't influenced to some extent by the, you know, the better parts of that culture. So yeah,
they definitely have a wide range of right characters and stuff, so they have a lot more to go off than we do, for sure. And we are influenced, we can't deny that. But one thing I do want to say, because you mentioned we have different media outlets, but do you find it still the same net of it, that the different media outlets, even social media, other than I guess
I think in social media, I think black women are trying to better the image. I think with the whole natural hair community and, you know, the whole black women in luxury, I think there are, although it might seem small to other people, I think that we are trying to better our image. I think we've always been fighting to better our image. I think we don't have any support in it though, and that's the issue. But I think in general, there's always been a fight. There's like an ongoing fight to better the image. Yeah, I do. I think so anyway.
No, I appreciate that. And this is kind of an open question as well to everyone then. So the fight to, I suppose I've already kind of answered this question at all, but Fiona, let me ask you this then. Do you think that we as a community collective, including black men, have a responsibility apart in terms of the image as well? Or would you say, you know what, black women, we need to do this by ourselves? How do you view that?
Yeah, I do. I think there is a contribution. I think black men need to do more to support, even if you're doing your projects, you need to include positive representations of black women in those projects. So yeah, I do agree that black men need to do more. I think they need to stop this whole competition, stop trying to be the bad bee of the community and start trying to be more like a male figure and do what other males do in terms of representing and supporting and uplifting, and stop trying to be the chosen one and, you know, you are the baddest within the culture, that kind of thing.
Appreciate that. Open questions to the panel as well. Do you agree with Fiona's sentiments or not, or different opinion?
Well, just in relation to what you just said there, in my memory bank, it was men that started exploiting the women. So just put that out there before the women started going with their own foolishness.
Absolutely. And once you hear something over and over again, you're a this, you're a that, you become it. It's, you know, I think, yeah, I just think that wasn't a clever move at all.
And the thing is, it translates to today, man, with this whole manosphere thing. Like the women seem to be hell. Anyway, different story, man. But yeah, I agree with the sister there in terms of that, because I always reference the NWA song, right? A bitch is a bitch. For those of you that remember that song, because for me, that was one big turning point of many. Yeah, and I think NWA for myself was a big turning point again in terms of the whole culture, the way in which women were viewed, this, that, and the other. And it just shows how music, you know what I mean, films, you see, because for me, all that New Jack City and Boys in the Hood and all that, it was just all, yeah, I just don't, you know what I mean? It was just very bad programming, man, because it took a small part of a place and exported it, yeah, and then lots of other places became like that. Yeah, I know I'm veering off a bit, man, but you know.
No, but you're right, because it filtered into real life. Because if you look at Dr. Dre, he kind of, if you look at who he settled with and who he exemplified a normal family life with, you know, it wasn't a black woman in the end, was it? So it just shows you it filtered into his, he actually believed that. It wasn't just material for his songs, I think, anyway.
Absolutely. And that's the next thing, sis. You raise another good point, right? Because, and this is what I'm saying, we as a community, we've got to ban them out, because a lot of them, they're selling what they're not doing, right? So you got a man selling gangster rap, but his youth's going to, you know, the top college, you know, doing polo, this, that, and the other. Whereas you're selling the rest of the youth them that BS, man.
And I think they're intelligent enough to use the same beats and to come up with, they're innovative enough to come up with different types of lyrics and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, women didn't help either when you had the likes of Foxy Brown and Lil Kim doing what they were doing. I'm still old enough to know when female rappers kept most of their clothes on, like MC Light and Roxanne Shante. And so I was kind of shocked when it suddenly changed.
I know you
and
didn't.
It's gotten worse.
You didn't say Lil Kim, did you?
Yeah, you had the Lil Kim, Foxy.
Lil Kim had that famous picture, you know, that famous
Lil
picture that
Kim
most black guys.
Witness, man. Oh my God, man. That was soft porn at its best, man.
I don't know about that.
Because it's led to what we now see. It's led to what we now see in mainstream rap with Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Sauti. It's very sexualized. It all started way back in the
beginning
90s,
of the end, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Cardi B is trash, man. She's just trash. Sorry.
But what came first? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Do you think that it was a response from black women to that kind of music that they heard as like sort of a retaliation, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're sitting on a thing like, well, if you're gonna exploit myself, I might as well exploit my own self. You know them ones.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. Like I don't even want to mention the big P word, but the same thing with the big P word. You know what I mean? For many years, the women were being exploited, and now they're like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna be the biggest porn. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's good, but this is where we are. You see what I'm saying to you? So I don't know.
Well, and to your point, why it matters, you know, black men are the leaders. So, you know, wherever you go naturally, women will follow. So
there you go. This is where you've led us, gentlemen.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, I hear you, but there's a level of have to be accountability here. It's like, come on. I mean, where does it go into here? I mean, you still had like a Jasmine Sullivan, you had like a Melanie Fiona, who they can put Alicia Keys. She does post a bit of sexuality, but they're quite, refined women. I think, but I don't know.
No, but the Alicia Keys thing goes into the realm of colorism, because roughly around that time, India Arie was around, and I was a big fan of India Arie.
Erica
she got passed
Well
over.
said, brother Ellery.
Yeah. They ignored India Arie and they gave loads of Grammy awards to Alicia Keys. I think Lauryn Hill. Yeah, she was good for the short period that she was around for before she went mental, but she was really good when she was around. Yeah, she was good. Very good.
Big up Lauryn Hill, man.
Yeah.
But as you even mentioned that, that's another thing. Sorry, going back to the program, right? And I might really sound petty, but it is what it is. Liverpool won yesterday, so I'm in good spirits, right? The mere fact, that because you see that Chung Lee chick, seriously, on any given day, she could be anything, man. You see what I'm saying to you? Like, there's no day that Nainifa could go out the yard and not be black. Even if I tried. The blondest wig, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? Like, she could go out on a day, she could be... I didn't even know she was black, Virgin. I thought she was a bit Chinese, I gotta be real. And she even believed that she has that look because she's called herself whatever she's called herself, right? And then when we check it, she's actually half Pakistani, half white, and a bit Bayesian. We're having problems out here, man.
Now, and this is another thing. It's a different topic, but are we to blame? I mean, at the end of the day, if she identifies as black, then I treat them as so. But there is a legitimate problem about, they're the representation of black women. Again, as I said, black women seem to be the ones who music videos, TV spots. You know how it was. You know how it is.
But now this is her own mum. Because I've been talking about these things online for many a year, right? Because I've had many a black men tell me, they're black. I'm like, no, Virgin, you can't have a child drop out of a whole white woman and call the child black. That's a sickness.
Nope.
You see what I'm saying to you? So you had the same young lady going around saying, I'm black, and then her old mum has to say to her, yo, my girl, I'm a whole Pakistani white woman. How can you be black? And she said this in the program, but yet you're still calling it black and British. You're taking the piss out of us, man. Allow it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a conversation because she obviously had identity issues, didn't she? So growing up, because I think she did grow up in Barbados for a while, and then she came to the UK. So she did have maybe a cultural expression is more akin to black people. So I don't know. So, but yeah, that's another convo, I think. Jesse, let me bring Jesse in. Sorry. Welcome, bro. How's it going? And what are your thoughts so far? To be honest with you, I don't know if it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah. I actually watched the 2 episodes of Black and British, and to be honest, like, I picked up on a lot of things where this is why it's so important that, like, black people have their own media, right? Because it's like that whole thing was engineered like in a specific way, right? But there was certain things where I felt there wasn't enough accountability in some of the stuff they were talking about. Like, this is why, like, when I was, to be honest, the people who stood out to me the most in the Black and British was Lin May and Dominique Samuels, right? And a bit of the Doctor, right? But there was a lot of things that I clocked onto where there was a lot of hypocrisy, right? I don't know if you clocked onto it, but you know that woman called Michelle?
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. Yeah,
the woman that's in really good shape, and I think she's like a single mother with a child, right? Was basically, I don't know if you clocked onto it, right? She was saying about when it came to interracial dating, right? Basically, there was a black guy that was talking about, you know, the black guy that was being like asked, oh, you look like the type of guy that would like a white girl, right? I don't know, the doctor.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
The other guy, the Nigerian guy, yeah.
I don't think people saw like this fellow like went over people's heads, right? Because I was speaking to a couple of friends as well about it as well. I'm gonna actually make a video analysis on this because it was very interesting. I might do a whole video analysis on the series. But the thing was like she was saying to the doctor, oh, I'm a bit too strong for you and you don't like my type. I don't know if you clocked onto that.
No, I haven't seen part 2 yet.
You know what? I might miss that. You know, I was skipping through a lot of it.
I
You gotta watch.
I heard that still.
Alright, okay. You gotta watch that. Yeah, you gotta watch don't skip through. You gotta watch everything because the amount of gems that was.
It was a tough watch, bro. It was a tough watch.
Right, it's a tough watch, but you got to sit through it. For me, it was tough, but I got through the 2 episodes and I was like, yeah, thank God. Like now I see why the black community is the way it is, right? Like for example, she was saying, oh, I'm a bit too strong for you, black guy, and you know, I like a bad boy. And then she was saying how I only want a black man. Now, if you got to the episode where they went to the place to date, where everyone started dating, right? She found this white guy that was basically, she called Aquaman, innit? Right? Good looking dude, like no homo. The dude looked good. He looked in good shape, got good facial hair, got dude looking good, right?
Yeah, no homo.
No homo. But OJ, you know you don't have to go even that far, right? You can even reverse from this. What did she say her baby father is, Bedouin?
Huh?
What did she say her baby father was?
I can't remember.
Did she say that? Because I heard she said she liked bad boys, but I didn't hear it.
Bedouin. This is what I'm saying. Thank you.
What did she say?
Sorry, could you say again? What was that?
The father of one of her youngest child is from Iran.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, that is true, right? But then all of a sudden, right, as soon as she went with like the white guy, she was like, you notice her whole demeanor changing. She was saying, oh, I'm easygoing, I'm this, I'm that. So wait a minute. So you're talking a complete contrast before when you're talking to the black guy that was the doctor, yeah? And you were saying that, oh, I'm too strong, I'm too tough. I don't know if anyone clocked onto that, like that full 360, like when they went on the dating scene.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I rescind my support for her. I no longer support her. She is the devil incarnate. Since she did that, I will watch it.
Right. You need to watch. Trust me. You need to clock onto this, right? Because the thing is the reason why this is a problem is because. Let me explain. Like, obviously, not all.
Wait. Are you highlighting that she changed her personality when talking to a Caucasian man?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Right, right. And her preferences completely changed. She was all of a sudden a lot more easier to deal with. Right, and she was all because like when you look, we
hear that a lot, you know.
Right. Then basically, yeah, you gotta look at it this way, right? This guy's a black doctor, right? The dude's good looking, and then you're saying, oh, I'm a bit too strong for you. You like white girls, blah blah blah. Right? Cool, you have your preference. But then she's completely switched up when Aquaman came through the window, right? And basically the white guy, right, and said, oh, you're nice. Like, oh, you know, I'm easygoing and blah blah blah. Like, even based off her demeanor, I don't think she's easygoing, to be honest.
Was the doctor interested? You think?
I think we should be a bit fair to the context. Like, it was his segment. They were outside, and his whole segment. He decided to make his whole segment about him interracially dating. That's his business. If he wanted to make that his whole base.
And the doctor was a coon, man. Come on, man. Stop it, man.
So he was sitting there
because he was a doctor.
No,
he wasn't a coon for being a doctor.
Why was he that? I don't use that word, but like, why was he that word?
Did you watch it, man?
I did watch the whole 2 things, yeah.
So you didn't think he was slightly coonish, no? And then they brought in the twin for balance.
I just think the thing is like I don't really call people names because they have a difference of opinion. So I don't really call people
So
the
he
C word.
was
And this is what I'm trying to say. That's part of our problem, innit, as a community. Like,
Wait, Nainita, you're being unfair. You didn't hesitate to call him that word, but when Jesse was telling us about what the black woman, how she changed her demeanor with the non-black person, you didn't call her out on it.
No, but wait, let me bring
but wait,
context
but
to it
witness,
though.
who wasn't? Sorry,
I
but go on.
hadn't finished bringing context to be
Yeah, go on,
fair,
Empress.
because it's like his whole claim to fame was the fact that he liked white women, which should ring alarm bells. You grew up in Devon, you're a twin, you've become a doctor, and your whole claim of fame on there was that you liked white women. Number one, yeah. And they were sitting outside. Their whole segment was about him interracially dating and being coy about it, didn't want to admit it, trying to use all the examples in the world for why he's interracially dating, even used the excuse of being in Devon, all the classic rubbish of why he had to do it, like there was no black women, right? So that was one thing. And then she replied saying, oh, well, and it was in a jokingly way. She said, oh, well, I'm probably too strong for you. You don't like black women anyway. After he declared he didn't like black women. So like she went in force hand and started going at him.
Exactly,
Really?
Empress.
Is that what he did?
Exactly, Empress. She probably was interested, but then when she heard this rhetoric, that was her response because he was embarrassing her. And I think, I think people think that us black women, we can just shrug off anything. We don't have any kind of, and the same way that black men say, oh, well, I wasn't your type and bloody, bloody, blah. Well, she might have felt that way. And that's why she reacted in that
felt
way.
insecure. Absolutely, sis. Because
So
straight
he
after
was
that,
a Judas
go to
then.
her. Sorry, bro.
He was a Judas then, from what you're saying.
I'm just saying I'm just saying on the back of what the brother was saying.
Yeah,
it
makes sense. Thanks for
we need
that.
to put some context on it, because straight after that part where I do totally agree with what the sister's saying. I think our sister Fiona, I totally agree. I feel that she felt insecure because straight after that we get, well, I would like a successful man, and maybe she wasn't articulate at that time, or she couldn't think of what successful. And then she did say some things that you wouldn't necessarily want a woman of that age. She says success. I think she said, what did she say? A footballer. I think she said something else, but she did say a lawyer. So you can see in what vein that came out of, right? You've got a black man who's successful, good look, nothing wrong with him, relatively the same age. I think he was in his 30s. She's in her 30s as well.
She's 36,
and she can look at this man and she's looking at what she consistently probably sees, right? And she felt away and she just brushed it off with, well, okay, it's fine. I'm too much for you anyway. And then straight after she's saying that how much she really wanted a successful man.
You got a
come
point.
on.
A footballer or a millionaire, just to
and then
be
she
in her
said a
headspace.
lawyer, and then she said a lawyer.
Yeah, but she probably, when she was younger, she wanted the bad boy. Now that she's got kids, she wants a bit of support and security.
No, honestly,
so she wants the successful
we
man.
hear this rhetoric a lot, but I honestly think that black women or black young women don't have any self-esteem, and they just don't feel that these type of men are attainable. And where they're watching media and they're seeing who people are coupling with. And we had a live stream the other day looking at black politicians, and every single one of them had a white partner. So, I mean, that's not representing to a black young girl that we can aim for the stars. 1 minute we've got options and we can choose a better man, and the next minute we haven't got options. Make up your mind. Which one is it?
Bearing in mind, we all, in the same breath, they'll say that they know what the beauty standard is. And what are these successful black men going for? They're not going for their own.
Well, they say they don't like the fake hair or the straight hair, but then they're going for someone who's got the original straight hair growing out their head. I mean, I don't...
Totally. It just
no, but they have fake hair as well. I mean,
that's what the sis was saying. Yeah,
no, but they're saying they don't like the texture or whatever.
Yeah, now you're going somewhere else, man. But yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear you, man.
Sorry, Jesse.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Like that's just an observation, but I think it's very important that and the other figures, I do have empathy for, the gay black guy. how
Jesse, sorry, Jesse, not to cut you, but I want to say this. I don't want to give all of it away because I did kind of want to cover it later on this week. So this was really about Michelle. This is really about the image of black women and Michelle.
Okay,
I just wanted to bring
Have you heard his lyrics?
I've heard.
You know the guy that you've got empathy for. Have you heard his lyrics?
The gay rapper. My bad. I've not seen him. I'll check to that.
No, I'm asking OJM because he said he's got empathy. So I'm asking him if he's heard.
No. What I'm saying is I've heard the lyrics, but obviously I'm a straight guy. But the thing is like, what I mean is how he was treated. Like, I'm not really bothered about his music. It's like how he got treated.
What do you mean you're not bothered about his music? Have you heard the lyrics?
Yes, I have, and I'm not bothered about it.
And you're not bothered?
Like, he could rap how he wants to rap. Like, in the end of the day, nothing much I can really do about it. Can I?
Cool, and that's what I'm trying to say, innit? So you're not bothered about the lyrics?
No, because there's nothing I can do about it.
There you go. There's nothing that we can do about it. I hear you, bro. I hear you, man. I hear you.
You get what I'm saying? Like, if I was bothered and I could do something about it, then yeah, I would. But you can't. Like, we're in this world where everyone's free to express themselves how they want to.
There you go, man. There you go, man.
That's just the reality.
So, let me ask you something then. Do you think every community would allow one of their members to sing that kind of thing?
No, hell no.
Oh. So what's special about us then?
I'm just saying. Well, what do you mean? What's special about us?
Well, if you agree that not every community would allow theirs to sing them kind of lyrics, I'm now asking you.
I'm not talking about the music. I'm talking about how he was treated when he was coming out. Like,
so are you separating himself from his artistry, for example?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
because it's like he's all about his struggles and blah blah blah. But there were certain things that I did disagree with what he was saying. Like, there was a part where, you know what? Let me just keep on topic. I'm babbling. Let's just keep on Michelle, right? But yeah, when I saw Michelle, I was shocked. I ain't gonna lie.
Now then, because this.
Hold on, wait. Is Michelle the lady that we're speaking about with the hair and the nails and this and that? Yeah.
Michelle's the black woman. They're the black woman.
Okay, cool. So you were shocked about that. I get that. Me myself, I call her clown looking. Cool. I go back to the dude's lyrics. Are you not shocked about the lyrics?
I'll say yeah, but in the end of the day, right? People gonna express themselves how they want to express themselves. Like, nothing really shocks me anymore. Like, we're so desensitized from so many things that once you hear like things like that, it's like whatever, innit? Like, everyone's doing what
I
they're
know,
doing.
but I think Michelle could tomorrow. She could take off her nails, put her natural hair out, this, that. Whereas we got my guy out there talking about touching man's G-spot.
I hear that. But I think, like, Michelle, one thing I give credit, Michelle.
You're on Michelle. All right, cool. Let's deal with Michelle, man. Go on, man.
I think Michelle, like, I give her credit, man. She's in really good shape. I give her that.
She's in really good shape.
Yeah, she's in really good shape, man. Like,
cool.
From a credit, she goes gym, she's security.
Yeah, that ladies. Michelle's in really good shape.
How old is that young guy who's whatever? How old is he? Does anyone know?
Which guy?
The guy who talked about the G.
Oh,
thing.
right. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I think he's younger than 20, you know.
Okay, he's 20. All right, fair enough. All right. Okay, late teens.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be really talking about that on national TV.
Can I bring up a point? Because this seems very. Do you think that they have been listening to online conversations and that they casted Michelle based on the things that they've been hearing, the tropes they've been hearing on social media about black women? Because this all seems very convenient that they found this woman who fits all of these things.
I agree.
Out of all the women they could have found, there's so many black women, and there's one on the news the other day receiving an MBE, but they chose. I mean, not that she'd probably stoop so low to go on that kind of platform anyway, but they chose this particular type of woman.
That's what I'm saying. It's entertainment, sis. It's not real life, man.
But are they
I
listening to the conversations online and then trying to bring this onto television?
Of
Is
course,
what I'm
Fiona.
saying.
They are, because I think it is, because at the beginning when I first opened talking about because I watched it and I analyzed it pretty hard, right? Is like it felt socially engineered, because if you look at the viewpoints, like you had like what, two conservatives there, you had a pro black there, like they were obviously chosen. Like you had Lynn May Talks, who is, let's be real, she's around on the net like that, right? Dominic Samuels as well. So I think it's engineered. Then you had the Kenwood Andrews as well. He's like the complete polar opposite. So
The thing is, these aren't random people. This is why I agree. They weren't random people.
They
These
weren't
people
random,
you
bro.
mentioned, we all know who they are and what they're about. So we knew what was going to take place. So when
Exactly.
when I read, you weren't there, Jesse. Then I read out the how these people were put together, and it made out like, oh, I put all the feelers out on social media to find out, oh, people message 10 people on social media, message all these people to find all these people to come together. They had like 3 people at least who we already know who they were. We didn't even need to put out a casting call. So I was like, bro,
yeah,
engineered.
It was engineered. Like, so that's the answer to your question, Fiona. Yeah. Like, I think they brought on Michelle because she fit all the stereotypes. Single mother, right? Has the weave, has the hair, lashes, right? Dark,
Entertainment.
everything you could possibly think of, right? Like she fit that criteria. Like she was there by design. It's so bloody obvious. Like even the way her demeanor, even her demeanor. Like
I wish
I mean,
wish if they
how
were going
many black
to.
British women are with Iranian men?
Exactly.
Like, it's so extreme. Oh, come on, man. You're
I
taking the
wish if
piss
they
out of
were
us, man.
if they were going to do something on Black British and what it's like to be Black and British. I wish it'd be good if they had a show where they had people from the 4 corners of Britain. You know, whether you had Black people, Black person from Ireland, someone from Wales, someone from Northern Ireland, who'd lived there all their lives, and then someone obviously from the
Even that would be
southeast,
better, man.
and you put them
Considering this is
together.
the BBC and we pay
Yeah.
our money, and they gave us 2 was it 2 half an hour? Was it half hour, right?
2 hours.
1 hour, 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours, my bad. Yeah, man.
Because I
They could have
think
done better than that, man.
it would really be educational and informative for like Black people. Like if you're a Londoner and you're seeing Black people in other parts of the country, how they live, how they go about, you know, everything from the optics, the accents, you know, the culture they might have in that part of, you know, Southern Ireland or whatever. It'll be really eye-opening to us to see Black men, Black women from those different parts, and it gives you a sense. Okay, this is British. Okay, I don't know, it'd be really good, but I don't think we'd be lucky enough to get something like that.
We had something called Channel 4 Takeover Day, and this is something I've always been saying about, like, and no disrespect to Londoners, but it's like London has always been, we care about London, that's it. Now, for me, being outside of it, I'm like, okay, I got to change the narrative about, you know, Black, not change the narrative, but have a voice about outside of London. And yeah, for sure, I definitely would like to see a lot more representation, because it's not a lot, and I know most of us are down in that region, but there's enough of us, a strong history of us being around the nation. Not so much in like Ireland as much, but there's a lot more contingent in Ireland and Wales and stuff. But there's a heck of a lot of more representation that doesn't get promoted. So I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. We do need that as well, just in general. But I suppose one step at a time, it seems right now.
And you're from where, bro?
Nottingham.
Oh, Nottingham. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Did you ever see that film, A Room for Romeo Brass? Have you seen that film?
No,
No. Okay, no. That was the thing. The film that introduced me to the people in Nottingham, their accents and stuff. Yours isn't quite as strong, but it's there. But,
it depends how you see it. There's a lot of it's a
maybe
bit
if you're around your colleagues from there, your accent would suddenly change even more, and I don't know, maybe it's because you're talking to us southern softies that you've had.
I make sure I don't change my accent for no one. So
okay, that's good.
No, I don't do them things.
I touched down in Nottingham back in my uni days a few times. I don't remember, so you know it was a good night. But yeah, man, big up Nottingham still.
No, appreciate it. So yeah.
I wanted to make a point about representation of Black women in TV. Just one point. So I wanted to use Charlene White as an example because I really do like her. Everyone knows Charlene White. She's a news broadcaster. And I always have this conversation with my mum. She's got natural hair. She did a Who Do You Think You Are documentary. She went back to Jamaica and looked about sort up her roots and things like that. Lovely lady, great personality, just all round natural hair on television every night on the mainstream news. Natural hair, proud of her culture. And I just wanted to use her to demonstrate that even she, and I always gripe about this, 2 children, unmarried. So I'm just using her as an example to say that you could do everything right, everything correct, and somehow with Black women, it's just not enough. And I just want to know who this person is that's had 2 children with this lady. And to me, she's like perfect. And I just don't understand, or well, no one's perfect, but you know what I mean? She fits the bill of what all men say that they want, but yet someone, and all the other newscasters have marriage, they've got rings. I mean, I'm not saying that marriage is the be all and end all, but it's all about respectability. And that's, I guess, the image is what we're talking about here today.
Are you talking about Charlene White, or are you talking about Misha?
Charlene White. I'm talking, I mean, in general, we're talking about Black women and their representation, but I'm just using Charlene White as an example to say that she wears minimal makeup, natural hair, 2 children out of wedlock. No one even knows who these children are for. Good career, has a great personality. I mean, I just think that
then big up Charlene, because no one knew that she was a single mother until you mentioned it. So she's managed that very well. Big up Charlene.
Yeah, she's very well. She doesn't like advertise her children and all of that and things like that. But I'm just saying that she's a representation of someone that's done supposedly everything. She's everything that you guys say that you want. Yet she's still found herself in the same position. Yes.
Fiona, like what you're saying about some Black women is spot on, because I have a similar story. There's a girl that I know who's in my social circle, right? She is everything that a guy would want, right? Personality wise, looks wise, all of that stuff, right? And basically this friend of mine's, or like someone in my social circle, opened up to me and basically said she's part Black, right? And she opened up to me and said that she got cheated on, right? And I'm thinking to myself, if I was in that, I just think I think the dude's an idiot. I think he's a donut, right? Because that's generally a good woman, right? She's part Black and I think she's part Asian, right? And I was like, what I would do to be in his shoes, right? I wouldn't obviously cheat, because it's like any dude that gets with her, right? Like they're laughing to the grave, bro. Like everything that you would want from a woman, she has, but yet again, like the guy goes and cheats on her. Do you know what I mean? And it's like she's clearly wifey material, right? And it's like, yeah, so what you're saying is true. Like I do admit at a certain extent, right, where some Black women just like it's simply not good enough for like other men. Like I do agree with that.
It's the whole I think it's to do with the amount of value that people place on Black women in general anyway. I think we could all have our natural hair. I think we could all do the things that people say we should do, because you know she just seems like such a lovely lady. And I always say this to my mum, all the other broadcasters are there stunting and she's the only one without a ring. And it's not about career. I see someone, the Antisocial podcast, mentioning career. You're just being facetious. You're trying to move the goalposts each and every which way. She's a lovely lady. And the point of the matter is people don't value Black women, and this needs to change. And that's it, full stop.
Yeah, but I think I hear what you're saying still, but I think we've also got to be careful, right? Because there's also a vibration where certain women don't stand for certain things, innit? So you might have a white woman who's a broadcaster presenting this, that, and the other, and her husband's cheating with her with men, women, and everything in between. But she's willing to, you know what I'm saying to you, like, put up a front. So I'm hearing what you're saying still, but I don't know, like, there must be a reason why she's in that situation, right, Carl? She's obviously quite clued up, educated, whatever, to get where she is.
Yeah, I mean, we could blame it on several things. I mean, she, was getting
Yeah, I don't want to use the
older.
word blame because I think it even
Yeah.
brings up another really interesting talking point for another time, right? Because obviously sometimes black women are given all these different adjectives.
Well, no, sorry to Antisocial Podcast. No, I don't know her personally, but you don't know all black women either. But you're comfortable branding everyone with the same brush, and you don't do it to other women. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say though, I didn't notice much difference between Dominique and Chun-Li, which is interesting because everybody else is saying how we had fast representation and how they're all different, but I didn't really see much of a contrast between those two girls. I don't know if anyone else did or.
Well, they're both conservatives, so yeah, there wouldn't be much of a contrast. And yeah, like because the talking points are quite similar, and I take it Lin May is from Tottenham, and I think
Dominic's from
Dominic's
Manchester. The money. One thing I say though, they know each other though. This is the thing when I say it's constructive. They know each other. They many shows together. They know each other in and out. So again, this is nothing like they've just met the first time ever. So even more socially engineered. So continue.
But yeah, exactly. Like you said, why it matters. Yeah, it's socially engineered, and people.
Yeah, no,
know
I definitely know that they probably did know each other because even Andrew, they've all debated and stuff on mainstream TV. So yeah, and they've all got a following or they're doing something in regards to TV. So there is self-interest and there's obviously a link to that to be able to go onto the TV. Do you know what I mean? Like all of that was like pretty like obvious that it was definitely a setup rather than it being of a coincidence. Do you know what I mean? Like they're all from the TV, from the rapper who's he's trying to make his name. What 3 of them are correspondents, except for the black woman, which is interesting.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it definitely that's an interesting part. And
that's why I keep saying entertainment. Sorry to cut you in, Kush, but it's entertainment, man. It's not purposeful or educational, man. Sorry, Bab.
No. Yeah, definitely. So, but I'm agreeing with all of that. But I definitely do agree with what Sister Fiona was saying as well in regards to that's what I was trying to say. So I don't know if that was ringing or if you just wanted to make your point clear, bro. But that's what I was trying to say, that basically when it comes to the BBC, you are gonna have to get these you're going to have to expect this, but I do feel like with black women, we are creating our own spaces on things like YouTube and podcasting and things like that, where we are creating our own spaces, and your show and other shows that are out there, that if you want to see the change, you've got to, each individual's got to move and find that change and walk collectively with their money or what they click on or whatever. So that's what I meant about that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Gen Z, a lot of them are not sort of on sort of terrestrial television anyway. They're kind of following social medias and following different platforms. So in a sense, it's kind of good because it kind of changes that narrative from what we've all been growing up sort of watching sort of mainstream television. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I think and I agree. I think it's a great thing because it's not that dogma. We're not getting told what to watch. You have a choice. And the way that the youth, as you were saying, they gain their information is totally different. They instinctively goes to their phone. They don't get the information anywhere else. So can we create this? Of course we can, because we are the creator of new trends and new innovation all the time. All we have to do is just create it on these platforms that are already available. And
Black Girl Magic and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I look at people like my niece, and at her age, you know, she's really confident, and I kind of wish that I had those kind of things around when I was her age, because being brought up in the UK, watching mainstream, there was really nothing to to encourage that. So
And I remember when I first was like, you know, on YouTube, I would say things like that, and I just felt like it wasn't really registering. I don't think people really understood that power of that is a prime example of black girl magic. No one helped. There was no zaddy there. There was no white man there. There wasn't not necessarily, and it wasn't even black men that was really in that movement. It was black women seeing that there was a problem. Instead of complaining and whining about it, they started to make an affirmation for themselves. And it was out of love, and it wasn't hate for anyone else. It was just more love of self. And the amount of love that went into that movement is, it was information to share. And that is a something that if we could have ring fenced that and really protect, that is so powerful. Because if you think about it, when a YouTuber is doing something on her hair, how many sponsors could have gone at her and said, you know, just promote this or promote that, even if it didn't work? But that wasn't the case initially with that movement growing up. It was literally women sitting there saying, I've tried this, I've tried that, try this, let me know how you did it. If you've got any more information, let me know in the comments. That people are literally feeding each other and gaining knowledge of self, of their hair. And it was a beautiful thing. And that's just one example. So we can manipulate that. It's already happened, you know.
yeah, but it's just a shame, because I've always said this on this platform, that it's for black women, it's mainly self-promotion. There's literally nobody else. It's kind of holding up the you know, the example for yourself, whereas other people have, you know, other races of women have different people, even our own kind of so-called, because I don't because I believe in the Trinity, I don't really refer to sort of most black men as black, it's just men. But even our own so-called black men haven't really uplifted in that way. It's all that all of the pressure has been on us to kind of uplift our image and make ourselves into, you know, something a little bit more palatable. So yeah, I agree.
But I'm a bit confused by Fee, because you said you liked her image, you like she works very hard, you didn't have a problem with her wig, you said, but when it came to Cardi B, you said you said negative things, like you don't like Cardi B's image, and then you are talking about another woman that she's a good representative, she has natural hair, but her lifestyle is like this and like that. I want you to explain more. What do you think is a good image of black women? Because I'm a bit
I wasn't talking about Cardi B, no. I mean, I don't really consider Cardi B, I think she's a multiracial woman, but obviously others would argue that she is black. But I see Cardi B as multiracial. I don't think it was me that made the comment about Cardi B.
Yeah, but you agreed to it that no, it's not a good image. Like everyone agreed. But
Cardi B isn't.
Yeah,
well,
but you
I
like
think
the woman's image. You like that she works really hard, and you said her wig was okay, her hair, everything was.
No,
okay.
I didn't say her wig was okay.
And you admired her really much, so I want to really understand.
Yeah. No, I said she could have chosen a better style of wig, and her presentation could have been better. I said that she had a great body because she was really in shape, and you know, you can see the definition and everything, that she really takes care of her body. So I thought that was good, and I like the fact that she was hardworking, and obviously clearly hardworking, was looking after her and raising her children, and that is what I've seen and grown up with. When I think of single mothers, I don't think of them as negative. I always seen sort of a kind of positive connotation to it. So that's the point I was trying to make there with Cardi B. And I think, or even without Cardi B, say people like Megan Thee Stallion, I think they're a product of trying to get back at black men for the content of the music that they were pushing in the early 80s, late 80s, early 90s. That's what I said about people like Lil Kim, and they, you know, they're a product of trying to push back on the narrative that was being, you know, the negative sort of imagery of black women, and they're trying to push back on that. And are they doing it in the best way? Probably not, but I think that they're the products of that.
Okay, but if you think it's not a good image, why did you like this woman's image? Why don't you have a problem with her wig or lashes or her hardworking self? Like the entire topic we're talking about, you admire her, you said, like, why? If you admire her, you like everything about her, why do you have a problem with Cardi B and the Stallion and Lil Kim and stuff like that? I don't understand.
I don't have a problem with them. I think, as I said, that they're a representation of their environment and the pushback to what's being sold. I'm very, you've probably never heard me on these platforms before. I'm very pro-woman, so I don't really critique. I wouldn't personally indulge in this behavior myself because that's just not me. But I think everyone was pointing out the negatives. Okay, she's got 2 children. She's a single mother, but other than that, she didn't seem to be, she's not on drugs. There doesn't seem to be anything else, so in my opinion, and I didn't watch the documentary, that I could see that was a detriment to her character. And everyone else was saying that actually in the program she was fine, her character was fine, she wasn't overbearing or anything like that. So I think, as I said, I think within the Black community, Black women's issues are amplified and we tend to go on the attack pretty quickly. Whereas with others, I think we kind of tend to kind of ease back. And that's the point I was trying to make. And with Charlene White, I was saying that she's none of the imagery that this lady is. She's got her natural hair. She presents on ITV. She seems like she's got a nice personality, but yet still she's ended up in the same position. So I'm just trying to say that whatever Black women do never seems to be enough.
Yeah.
But on that point, though, what would be palatable just on her looks? What would be more satisfying for people for her looks? Is it the fact that she had wigs and eyelashes?
Is that for?
I'm answering that for like everyone. Because I do hear the argument that a Black dark-skinned woman, I don't know what she would have to do to have escaped criticism, if we're being honest. Like I honestly don't even know what she could have done. So even if she was natural, I'm sure there would have been a problem.
Well, I don't think many would have found her face facially. I don't think a lot of, because she's got very West African features. I don't think, even if she had the natural hair, I don't think most people would still find her palatable anyway. So
I don't think that's true. I don't think, like, if she came there with natural hair, dressed in a dress, anyone would have an issue with her. I think it's hypocritical to say that, like, her whole image doesn't affect her, because her image, the reason why we're having this conversation is how other Black women are going to be seen. So we can't say, like, her image, even before she talked, it's not a problem. And that image that they put there is like for dark-skinned women. If you're going to find a job, that's what people are going to see, that's what people are going to expect. So that's why that image is very, very dangerous to put on TV. So I don't understand how anyone can brush it off like, oh, it's not a big deal, or it's just
what
like,
was dangerous, what did you think was dangerous about it?
It's very dangerous of how people look at Black women, because the way she dressed, like her life story, if you send in your CV, this is what these images do. If you send in your CV as a dark-skinned Black woman, in their image, in other people who are Asian and white, this is the image they have in their mind of who you are, of your potential. So I don't understand why her image doesn't, I don't know why it is so okay and not a big deal. Like, if she had natural hair, she could have still been critiqued, blah, blah, blah. I think it's hypocritical to not say that her image, just the way she looked, it was just like, I don't know, a time bomb ready to blow up. And I think maybe unless you're a dark-skinned woman is when you can really connect to her and see the image that the TV show is trying to put out and how it affects you as a dark-skinned woman when you see these things and how people perceive you to be yourself.
But that's what I was asking, sis. So I was asking, okay, so for you, just her image, would you have preferred her to have had natural hair and no eyelashes? Because she didn't even really have she didn't have the whole contour face or nothing like that. It was literally just eyelashes and the wig, right? Unless you wasn't happy with her dress sense as well. So
I mean, even her dressing, she was revealing a lot of her skin. Like I don't know, like I saw one part where she had, I don't know, like training clothes. Okay, like everyone is talking about her image, how she looked nice, but it's like intentional. It's like she dressed up like that to show her body. Like that's all she's good for, her body. Like seriously.
okay, so you didn't like the dress sense, and also you would have preferred her to have natural hair and no lashes.
She had a wig, she could have had a different wig, but the whole combination, you can clearly see it was planned out that she has a certain image. And if we are not being like direct and saying, oh, maybe it was just the hair or the lashes, the makeup, everything was off. So it's hypocritical to say that her image didn't speak a lot more than whatever she had to say. And then the life story made it even worse. So I think the entire image of how she looks, the story she's telling, the main people who are going to be affected are dark-skinned Black women who are going to find jobs, be anywhere. It's just about how other people see us, because these things, that's why these programs are there. Otherwise, people will start to respect Black women. But it really does a lot of damage. So her image was really, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how Black women just generally don't have any freedom to do anything. And I'm not saying freedom to do negative things, but from our inside to out, we're just completely scrutinized. I mean, I've seen women on certain shows that have fake tan that looks ridiculous. They look orange. I've seen women that have overflated lips. I've seen women that have lashes and hair, but overall, no one seems to give them a hard time about it. And overall, they're always still seen as the beauty standard. So again, it's this thing again where I'm going to go back to the image and everything that we do being amplified to the nth degree. Yeah, I just think that society-wise, they just want us to curl up in a ball and disappear. That's my opinion.
But at the same time, those women with
I'm not saying that she chose the best wig. I didn't particularly like her wig. I know there's lots of Afro centered wigs that she could have chose. She could have chose, you know, maybe eyelashes that were a little bit more understated. But generally, I think that the whole thing of Black women expressing themselves through hair, makeup, anything else, it's just anything is just attacked, and it's not done to the same degree in other communities.
It's because other communities have real dressed up women on many other TV shows. Like you can click, I don't know how many times to find someone who has like such lashes and hair who's like white. Like they have dresses on, they have to look like princesses. So that's why Black women have to look like Gone with the Wind.
You obviously haven't seen these Essex shows. These Essex shows, you obviously haven't seen The Only Way is Essex, and you know everything's tight latex. Yeah.
I was going to say,
in general, other women have a better image. So there's the only image Black women have right now is that type of image. So you can't compare other women with this with Black women. So it's not like about freedom. It's not about expressing ourselves. I don't think Black women want to express themselves in that way. So I don't think we are kind of held back in expressing ourselves to do as many eyelashes as we want. I think we are held back into giving a good image of ourselves. I think we have freedom to do whatever we want, but we're being fed a different thing that we should want. I don't think Black women want to be.
Sorry, that was me. My bad. I wanted to show something. Sorry, continue.
And you cut me off, so I don't know. I lost what I was talking about.
Sorry, I apologize. Sorry, I wanted to show something. My point, I suppose, I wanted to make, Lorna, was to Fiona's point, and I know what you're saying, that there's more variety in white women that we see, but I think to Fiona's point, you'll see, and I wanted to share this article which had the stupid music playing. White women get more of a pass when it comes to their dysfunction than Black women will ever get, and there's some dysfunction which, I'm going to be honest with you, is more of a cultural thing. And I just want to share this screen. I don't know. I'm sure people are kind of aware of this because there's certain traits, I'll be honest with you, that exists, which I don't like. And yeah, I just want to share the screen and then bear me a second. So where is it? Majority of UK women don't bathe or take a shower daily. Now, we know the main demographic. Now, this is women. Seriously, they don't bathe or shower. There's so many things that happens, which I'm telling you, if this was like just black women, it would get amplified to the nth degree. And there's so much things that I've seen certain cultures who they don't even, when they go to the bathroom, the toilet, they don't even wash their hand. They go straight out. And there's so many things which I think, for me, just to a point, there are a lot of it gets intensified to the nth degree. That's all I'm going to say on that one. So I hear what you're saying though, but yeah, they can cover themselves in different ways. Even though I'm like 4 out of 5.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because they have had so many representatives as princesses. Like the image is already in the mind of people. So for us black women, even if it's a small thing, because everyone's image in their mind is gone with the wind, is big lashes. So it's just like keep on feeding the same thing. So it doesn't matter if a white woman walks around looking like whatever. It really doesn't matter that much because she doesn't represent everyone. There's the queen, there's princesses, there's so many other white women to look up to. But
I agree. And their community and their community base has done a fantastic jobs, and hats off to their men and their overall community. They've done a fantastic jobs in uplifting their women and their image and in their community. But even when black men have the opportunity to do such things, they don't take it. Even in their videos, if they've got a love interest that they're going to marry or something like that, there's a certain person that's cast in that role. But if it's some sort of debauchery, then it's so. Is it us alone that's responsible for our own image? Because if that's what you're saying, then I agree. As I just said, many black women, we self-promote, we do our own self-promotion. So, I mean, what you've come up to say is basically what I've been saying. So to a certain extent, we kind of agree with one another that we do our own self-promotion. We're not supported by anyone in terms of promotion, and we stand alone in terms of promoting our own beauty and our own image. And if that's what you're saying, Lorna, then I completely agree with you.
Well, Fiona, though, the whole idea of black women are gods and stuff, that wasn't a black woman's creation. That was a black male's creation. I was like,
most black men, white matters, don't support that trope. They think that's absolute rubbish. If any black man walks into a room and says that, he'll be attacked by many black men. Even when Umar Johnson goes on about his thing about not dating interracially, most black men don't agree with that opinion.
But
they don't.
They
might agree with him on other things, but that's one point they will never ever agree with Dr. Umar Johnson on, is the interracial thing. They will die on that hill. They will never ever agree with Dr. Umar Johnson when it comes to that. And you can see it when he makes these kind of speeches. You can see it in the comments.
But if we say, like you're saying, that we take our image in our own hands and we all agree, I don't see the solution. If it just seems like you've softened everything and put everything in one box and didn't come to, because you were playing down the image. For me, that's what I was trying to say. Like we were asking in the beginning, like who is responsible for black women's images? So if we all agree that this woman is okay, is not that bad, then I think we have an issue. Then how are we going to solve the problem if we can't point it out, if it doesn't look good, and if we don't really understand it deeply?
Well, I personally feel that we're doing all we can to promote our image on other platforms, because obviously we don't own any of the other platforms, as people like to say. And at the end of the day, if you can find a group of people that are perfect, then fine. If you think that other people are absolutely perfect and don't do anything wrong, then that's fine. But there's going to be some of us that are flawed. I did say, okay, she's had children young, too young. She's had children out of wedlock. But then when I say, oh, black women should go to college, get an education, and not focus on boys and things, oh, we don't care about your careers. So whatever we do, it's wrong. You can't do good for doing bad, as far as I'm concerned.
But I don't think we can compare to what these TV show is about. We can't, that's the thing. Different Black people in general are completely different from what is being shown on TV. So that's what the issue is. So siding with this woman is like siding with the machine which you're trying to fight. And to me, it doesn't make any sense that she's okay, she's fine, and that anything we do is blah, 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 because clearly she looks off. And this whole show is a propaganda. So Black people in real life are completely different from TV. And we cannot say that anything about this show or this woman is okay. And we can feel sympathy for her.
She represents a certain subsector of our community, just like how there are certain people like travelers, for example, that represent a certain subset of the white community, and not everyone embraces them. But I'm not going to do what the manosphere do and dismiss her and say that she's nothing and she's staying because she's brought Black children into the world, which, you know, as I've said before, I think, quite frankly, anyway, I'm not going to go there, but, you know, I'm just not going to just attack her. If she was getting out of character, she had was behaving in a nasty manner and everything else. But, you know, nobody's perfect, and I'm not going to stand here and attack her just because her wig is to the side, or, you know, it's not. Is it my choice of wig or hairstyle? No. But there's other women in other cultures. I wouldn't blow my lips up. I don't have extremely enormous lips, but I wouldn't even consider blowing my lips up. I think it looks stupid. But if other people want to blow their lips up, then that's fine, you know. But I think we just have to stop being so overly critical of the Black woman, and we just have to stop this going on the immediate attack. It's not good. And I get what you're saying, and I understand, and I understand that the whole single motherhood thing and everything like that. But as a whole package, do I think she was utterly just despicable? No, I don't.
Yeah, but if you say that she's not utterly despicable, this whole woman is not even real. I don't think even their stories are real. So if we have a good side of her, that means we cannot petition to cancel the show or anything, because you keep seeing good things in these propagandas. Like, if it's trash, we have to address it, that this is trash. This woman is not even real. Her eyelashes are off. It's not about criticizing her as a person. It's just the whole image she represents. And if you can't criticize it and say, let's do something, let's take it off, and keep finding good things about it, I think that's hypocritical to even have to talk about it and say we are being criticized a lot, blah, blah, blah. Because Black women in real life are not like her. Okay, maybe we can have some sides of her real life, but it doesn't have to be on TV. So to find good things about this show and who she is just fake to me. It doesn't make sense. Like, we should just say, okay, it's trash. Let's find a way to take off this show off TV. That's all. That's what I have to say for.
But I do see other representatives of Black women on TV. That's the issue. I spoke of Charlene White and my admiration of her. The only thing I do feel is that the only thing that kind of pulls her back into the stereotype is the fact that she is a single mother. But other than that, I found good tropes in her, and I can recognize that. So that's why I can go other places and see good representation. Even on other social media platforms, I can see really positive representations of Black women. So, I mean, if you're just watching terrestrial television, which if you're born, maybe pre 1950, then maybe that is. But then are those the people that are really shaping society now? Probably not. So, I would argue that is not the only representation we get to see of Black women altogether, both in social media and on mainstream television. So,
but how can we get forward if we cannot address whether trash is trash or good representative? I think we have to be honest and straight up. It's not about criticizing women in general. It's about protecting the image. So if something is looking off, we just have to be honest and say it's off. It's not personal. Like, me is like, she represents me. So maybe I don't know your skin tone. To me, I see her like, oh no, now this is what people are going to see when they meet me. So it's like it's an attack on my own image. So I want it down. So I'm not going to find good things about it and say, oh, Black women can't do anything right. No, if it's trash, it's trash. And we just have to find a way to take it off air. If we can't take it off air, I don't know, we discuss to make it better, but we just have to be honest. And
can I just come in here a second? I just want to, sorry, because I just want to sort of pivot on the topic, because one thing I didn't notice is when you're talking, Lorna, is I remember being young and there was a show that was depicting Black people that was shown, and all the white people looked at me and was like, oh God, here it was. I don't know if it was just instinctual or whatnot, but it's looking at me to say, oh, okay, this is who you are. So yeah, there's a little bit of unfortunately trying to individualize, but truth to that. Nowadays it might be different. I don't know. But let me pose this question, because I kind of wanted to wrap the stream up shortly. Because Stanley raised a good question. I know nowadays it's sort of different, but why is a TV show a measure now? I don't know if for me, just to answer the question, Stanley, a lot of times, because over here in the UK, I know you obviously across the pond, we don't really get that many opportunities to show ourselves. I know we have social media and stuff, but there's not really many mainstream representation that's, I would say, decent. So I think that's why it's still a measure. Would you still consider TV show a measure, or would you say, forget about it, we don't care about it, it is what it is? Again, open question. Or mainstream, let's say mainstream then. Let's use that word.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously is a measure, but as I said, there are other Black women on television that are also a measure. But I think we take one instance of one person and then blow it up to represent the whole lot of us. Same thing with Black men, but we're not talking about Black men. We're talking about Black women. The same thing in the manosphere. If there's an issue that they've in dating, if there's an issue that they've had with one type of woman, it's just that individual woman. It's not the whole group of women that's an issue. And they will, like for example, Kanye West. You know, he's had an issue with a certain type of woman, but he's still gone back and dated another type of woman. And we would never hear him open his mouth to say that all of those type women are that type of women, even though they all kind of look the same and they all kind of speak in the Valley Girl accent. So you know, I just think when it comes to Black women, we're very, very hypocritical and very, very harsh.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what we as Black women think. It's about how the world views us. So if the world is seeing Kanye West, a Black man running after white women, but we Black people, we know what it's about. It's different. We have different views. So it's not, the world sees us as a monolith. They see us as Black people. It doesn't matter if she's from Ghana or whatever, she's still a Black face on TV. So it's not about us, it's about how the world views us. So it doesn't matter whether what we think is great or blah blah, it's about how others view us, and that affects our job opportunities, businesses, when we're walking around, everything in general. The image is how other people see us. So like we all know on this chat that something is off with this woman, but the Asians in their homes said, oh my gosh, these are how white people behave. When you go to their places, they treat you like trash. So it's really not about what we think, it's about what the world sees of us and how we are represented. That's, yeah.
Now, Lorna, because Stanley wrote a nice comment about it matters what we think. So, and you kind of said the opposite, it matters what the world think. Do you think we need to be in a space where it doesn't matter what they think, it matters how we perceive ourselves and what we know about ourselves? Is that more important? Because that's self-esteem, isn't it? Really, once it's perfected. I know there's other influences, but self-esteem perfected is when we know who we are, we only care about who we are. We don't let anyone else tell us that anything else. What do you think to that?
Yeah, but if it wasn't important for how others see us, there wouldn't be these TV shows, because we say that the main producer is some Asian person. He knows what he's doing. He knows this is not a good image of us. So he knows it's very important to have a good image. So if we don't care what others think, we still live on this planet, and we have to do business. We have to interact with people. We have to get married. We have to get jobs. So it really matters what other people think of us as an image. Imagine if the idea was, wow, like if you employ a Black man, he's honest, he's amazing, he will do a good job, Like how many CVs you would send in, like you would send in just 2 CVs to get a job, but the image is not like that. So it really matters what other people think of us, because otherwise how are we going to advance and get
I
ahead?
agree. I agree with Stanley. I agree with Stanley. We have to, at some point, we have to start looking inside and caring about the image that we're creating for ourselves, and not what trying to get some sort of kudos from other people. If Black women waited for other people to give us a pat on the head, that's why we've developed these platforms to celebrate our own image and our own beauty. We cannot wait for other people to say, "Oh yes, we think you're this, we think you're that." When, as the goddess, the empress said, we're promoting our own beauty, we're promoting our own beauty standard. So that is not us waiting on other people to give us some kind of seal of approval. And I think, in my opinion, Stanley is correct. We have to give ourselves a seal of approval. Other people have done terrible things, but do you think they give a damn about what people think about what they've done? No, they still think they're the best, and they're not going to give up that thing. And we need to think the same way.
Yeah, but it's not about what we have. Like this TV is giving us our image, is feeding the world our image. It's not that we are waiting. The image is already there. So it's up to us to change it, and they will continue feeding this image. So it's not like we're gonna do our thing, blah blah blah. But still, it's like a minstrel show when you watch these shows of Black people. So we are not in control of our own image. The image is already there. There's no waiting.
I would just like to say something. I was talking this with my brother Raven. I think he was on the show like a week ago, and I've had this discussion with him in regards to image, and I feel the standards of image we know is the white European woman, but it's not this perfect altogether woman, this super powerful woman. There's different faces of this woman. So they first established the girl next door, who is the plainest Jane woman ever. And it's typically the type of women that we see a lot of our brothers go for, who you always find that, that cliche of really, or, you could have got a Black woman. And, when we hear that kind of talk, so we all know that that's there. But what's smart about that is that when the little white girl is growing up, the epitome of beauty is very low standard for her. She could be the girl next door. She could be a supermodel. There's different faces of beauty for the white woman. So the white man has made sure that the white woman is covered. What is the problem for us is that we always expect immaculate for us. And this is what I was saying. If she is not immaculate, we're going to get on her. There's not one Black woman that I know of that hasn't had complete, you could call it hating, you can call it, criticism. There's always something. We go very hard on our own, especially men and women within our community. So if we keep giving ourselves an immaculate, unrealistic standard in this day and age for the modern working woman or whatever, we're going to keep putting this pressure on ourselves, and it's going to give us more problems because it's not realistic. The image of us needs to be of us in our true form, natural, and very easy to attain. But this image that we keep expecting from Black women, especially Black women, not mixed race, it has to be the epitome of immaculate. Whereas the white woman only has to get up, put on wash and go, and walk out the door.
And
this is what.
Sorry,
hello.
Go on. I was going to say something, but yeah, go on. Are you finished?
Yeah, so I was just saying that for us, we really need to. Yes, we need to define our own beauty, but we need to also be aware of the game, because the blonde white woman doesn't have to be the supermodel. The girl next door is just fine. The girl next door who doesn't have to do much can still get one of our black men elite. So this is why I'm very I watch myself when criticizing or talking about black women, because I'm very aware of how we have been programmed or what we expect or how we are designed to look at any faults compared to any other woman. But yeah, go ahead. I think there was a brother that wanted to talk.
Yeah. You know, when they're talking about image as well, right? There's one person that I'm surprised she hasn't like been bashed hard, and that is Katie Price. Right? Like, if you
She has been a bit of a punching bag, though. I'll be honest.
You think? Well,
yeah, it's a bit. Well, continue. I'll continue. We thought about.
I just think, well, I guess the punches are pretty light considering the things that she's done, and considering that if you look at Harvey, who I think he got an award, I think something Citizen of the Year or something. I can't remember what it was, right? And you've got that too. It's like, it's like I don't really see much in the news about her. Like,
Yeah.
even though
And she's a single mother how many times over?
Exactly.
But yet, people still try to support her. Her own community still
Exactly.
try to uplift her and will always make sure that she's all right. I mean, there is the only thing they down her about is having a biracial child. But other than that, for example, I'm not knocking her child and that's her child and she loves him. But if she didn't have that child, I even think they would uplift even more. And, they really do have sympathy on her. And it's something that we just don't have in this community.
I just this is the thing, like what Fiona's saying is spot on, because when I really look at her decisions, it's some decisions she's taken is pretty bad. Like Dwight York, like that dude, because I'm from Trinidad, right? But even though I was born here, like Dwight York had the reputation of being a playboy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm from Trinidad, and my parents are from Trinidad. I've been out Trinidad, and when I was young, and I went to Trinidad, and even everybody know, even in like Trinidadian media, like, yeah, Dwight York is that playboy type guy walking around with the white suit and all of that stuff, right? And when you really look at the decisions that Katie Price has made, to be fair, the punches are pretty light. Like, she crashed the car. I think she crashed the car and she had to go to court and a whole bunch of stuff. Then she's looking after a child. She's got all that craziness going around with a kid that has a very rare genetic disease in the Prader-Willis syndrome, right? Dude has autism, right? I generally feel sorry for him because, damn, I don't know what the future holds for him, right? Then he has to now look at how his mother is behaving in the spotlight, right? Like, how is she not? How can you sympathize with some of the choices she made herself, right? Like, it's not like she was unfortunate. Like, if you look at the choices she has made in regards of partners, like, come on. But then say a black woman does that, right? It's like hell on earth.
Yeah, but it's like I've watched, even there was a woman on TV, I think it's Good Morning America, talking about how they travel to Africa to have sex with young kids. And it was just perfectly okay. It's just that they have each other's backs, but we don't have each other's backs. But still, it doesn't matter what a white woman does on TV. She still has enough money. She can still get a job and all those things. So it's not about criticizing black women. It's about self-protection. So if you let something get out of the community and a certain image, it affects you personally. So most black women are not in that situation the same this woman is. They don't look like that. but that's what the image is of a black woman on TV. Like, that's how she's supposed to look like. She's strong, she's a security guard, she doesn't need any help. Like, she's like Iron Man with all these problems. I don't know, like the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it's about self-protection. It's not about criticizing her as a person. It's about the image which is being pushed through of how we're supposed to be as a people. So it's not about criticizing her personally. You know what I mean?
But we're going to need support to change this. We cannot do this alone. And other people, even in this space in social media, that support is just not there. Even at the basic level of not being disrespectful. We talk about these bad boys, but look at how many bad boys she's been with. There's lots of rappers who've married non-black women. Are they attracted to bad boys? I hear all this rhetoric about, oh, it's only black women that are attracted to bad boys. But if you look at the dating history of these women, with these boxers, mafia, and all these kind of people, they're going for the same exact people, you could argue. But somehow it's just this. I just think, as I said, it's just amplified in our case, and that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
No. Sorry. I have to try and cut the stream down. We're getting up too far mark. So, Jesse, finish your point and I'll wrap up. So, sorry, I don't want to cut you into.
I think I'm gonna be short anyway. I think the idea that it's black women that are the ones that like bad boys. I think that's a stupid label to put on them. Really, like, it's universal. It's pretty much universal across the board. Like, there's women out there that generally like bad boys. Like, I've seen streams with Asian women talking about it, white women, black women, even some like Latinas. So it's it's like, yeah, like that tag that black women like bad boys is just, that's a stupid tag to tag onto them, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I hear it all the time. And I said this before and I say it again. And this is the lose-lose situation now that currently we face it in. This is, when a black woman does something, the same thing, even, matter of fact, it could even be a lesser bad decision because of the way our things are. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it worse and worse and worse. And it's going to, it could consume if you don't protect your own mentals. And I think this does not help a lot of black women's mental image. I know Fiona talk about self-esteem, and I agree wholeheartedly about all the comments about self-esteem. And but no, thank God that it seems that with the social media, there's more opportunities for people to have different media. We hope that's going to change and it's going to have a massive impact. But again, that support is key. So there definitely needs to be support from not just black women, but from, again, black men, let's be honest. So for sure. I just wanted to wrap up the stream. I want to say big ups to everyone on the panel. It's been a fantastic conversation. Everyone who was here beforehand and who's left, I've not forgotten you. Thank you, everyone, for coming on the channel. Again, this was not even remotely going to be a bashing stream. It never was about that. So again, that's not what it was about. If you felt that way, I apologize, but that's not the case. It's just a call to arms, really, because, the things that do need to be discussed as such and how we move forward. So I just want to make everyone clear that was the purpose of this live stream. With a YouTube game, you have to bait and hook. So, people, you just have to understand how the game works. I'm going to have another title for my next stream, which is going to be another bait and hook. So, it is what it is. It's just, how these things work. But I hope everyone appreciates that. That's not my angle of what I want to go down. So I hope that's what's felt in the stream. But no, again, ladies, thank you, Jesse, as well. All the ladies who've been on the panel, all the guys, thank you for your forthright comments. I appreciate you. I think a lot of people want to continue on the Discord. So Fiona, Empress, Jesse, Lorna, if you're still listening, then by all means, I think Tash wants to continue it if you're still up for it. It's been a long one, but a good one. It's been a good one. And everyone, please make sure you like, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. I've not said it often enough, but please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We do have some really good conversations over here, so I hope you guys are up for it. So, without further ado, have a great evening wherever you are, or a good night, good afternoon, and until next time, we are out of here.